Well, good evening, race fans, and welcome back to Next Gen Racing Live TV on YouTube and Facebook. Welcome to round 8 of the championship here at Imola. We are heading into the final 3 rounds of the championship as of tonight, and it's all getting very, very exciting. A little bit about where we are tonight, as we usually do. We're at Imola, also referred to as the Autodromo Enzo Erdino Ferrari. Brilliant track, this. A little bit tainted in its history. The tragedies of 1994, of course, is really what many people associate this track with, unfortunately. But since then, it really has developed in terms of safety and brilliant entertainment and some cracking races over the years in many different forms of motorsport. And it's going to host us tonight here on iRacing. Imola is in the metropolitan city of Bologna, the Emilia-Romagna region. That's why it's called the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix in Formula 1. We're near the east coast of Italy, so real prime Italy at the moment. Thus all the greenery around the track. It's such a picturesque location here. Lots of hills and undulations here, which means the racing's going to be very interesting as well. And it's quite a narrow track as well, so it's going to make overtaking quite difficult actually tonight, but we'll see what happens. Here at Imola, 34 kilometres southeast of Bologna and 70 kilometres northwest of San Marino, the province of San Marino. And why do I say that? Well, this did used to host the San Marino Grand Prix, if you remember rightly, in the Formula 1. It's not actually in San Marino, it's in Italy, but it was aptly named that, and it was quite cool at the time, actually. The circuit was built in 1953. Its original layout didn't have any chicanes, so no Villeneuve chicane, no Variante Alta, and no Tamburello chicane. It was not quite an oval, but it was a very sweeping track, a very fast track. If you think it's fast now, back then it must have been something else. We're racing today on the Grand Prix layout, which is a 3-mile or 4.9 kilometre race track. Grade 1 circuit, so it hosts Formula 1, it hosts WEC, and it has also hosted over the years the World Touring Car Championship, the Intercontinental Le Mans Series, MotoGP, the World Superbikes. It's got its history, has Imola, when it comes to racing history and legacy. So, let's get into the admin for tonight before we head into tonight's racing. A little bit about the series before we get underway. This is the Next Gen Racing Multiclass League, featuring 2 classes, the Prototype LMDH, or GTP cars, as they're also referred to as. They're the top tier prototype series in endurance and sports car racing. There are 4 manufacturers in this category. And we also have the GT3s, which is probably one of the more popular categories in sim racing as well as real life racing, and there's 8 manufacturers within that. This Next Gen Racing series has 2 different formats of racing. We have the sprint race and feature race format, 2 races in one night, which we'll be using tonight. And there's also an endurance format, which is just 1 2-hour endurance, which will host the final rounds of the season in 2 weeks from today. But tonight it is a sprint race and feature race, and we also get qualifying with that. So on the hour, 8 o'clock UK time. Do excuse me. The sprint qualifying will start on the hour, 8 o'clock UK time, and that'll be a 25-minute session. The GT3s will go out first and do 12.5 minutes on their own on the track. That's the GT3 class on their own, and then the prototypes will do the final half of the qualifying session, the final 12.5 minutes. Once qualifying ends, we'll go into the sprint race, which is a 20-minute race, very basic, lights to flag, all-out racing. And the feature race is a 60-minute or 1-hour race, where we will see pit stops from the drivers, and that's where strategy comes into play. A big shout out to the sponsors, partners and affiliates of Next Gen Racing that include Benji Sim Photos, Mark Sykes Designs, Higgins Automotive, PowerMax Racing, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Sam Cases, Joyce Design and Douglas Motorsport. You can still sign up to the series if you wish to. The prices on the screen are the prices as of the start of the season. There are discounts for joining the season late on, I do believe. So get in touch with NXTGEN. If you're watching on Facebook, you can just message NXTGEN Racing on Facebook, message the page, or if you're on the YouTube live stream, if you go into the description, there's a link to the Discord channel. That is where the majority of NXTGEN's communications happen, is in that Discord channel. Over to the calendar now, and what a calendar we have here. We started off all them months ago, 2 months ago, in Italy, and it was at the Mugello circuit. Aragon circuit hosted round 2 of the championship with Silverstone GP round 3. Indianapolis road course hosted round 4 of the championship, with Road Atlanta hosting round 5 and the halfway point of the season. 2 Hour Endurance hosted on Independence Day at Sebring, and last week was our 7th round of the season at Spa-Francorchamps. And I've got to say, Spa-Francorchamps last week was one of the most dramatic sim races I've ever commentated on. Really enjoyed that, and it really did put the championship in a lot of categories up in the air, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens heading into tonight. There's a couple of changes for tonight as well amongst the drivers, so we'll go through that very shortly. Imola host tonight. Italy again, twice in one season, but next week we'll be heading back to Algarve International Circuit, and the reason I say we're going back to Algarve is because it was meant to host round 7 of the championship, but it got postponed due to iRacing DDoS issues. So we'll be there in a week from today, but 2 weeks from today is going to be the final round of the season at Le Mans, and it will be a 2-hour endurance as well. Really looking forward to that. Le Mans is one of my favourite tracks, and where else are you going to end the season? Of course it's going to be at Le Mans. The cars for the season are as follows. There's 12 different cars you can choose from within 2 different categories. The GTP category, which is our prototype category, features the Acura ARX, the BMW M Hybrid, the Cadillac V-Series, and the Porsche 963. The GT3 category hosts the Audi R8, the BMW M4, the Ferrari 296, the Lamborghini Huracan, the Mercedes AMG, the Porsche 911, the Ford Mustang, and the Chevrolet Corvette. A little bit more housekeeping to get done with before we head into tonight's racing. The championship standings heading into tonight. Now, before we go into that, the last week really was an interesting round. A couple of penalties were given out. I haven't gone into great detail. Oh, there's a football pitch down there. I didn't know that. Anyway, don't get distracted, Alex. Yeah, it was quite a dramatic race. I can't quite see what has happened points-wise in the championship, but we do know that it really did shook up a lot of results there. So we'll go through that now. But the winners from last week's rounds in the Prototype Golds, we did have a sprint race win from Ben McCluskey and Keir Worry. And the championship looks as follows in that Prototype Gold category. Max Daleiden continues to lead the championship and has extended his lead in the championship, because William Guthrie didn't have such a good round when it came to Spa, the feature race. He had trouble, and that meant he scored very few points. And actually, speaking of William Guthrie tonight, we'll talk about Max Daleiden in a sec. William Guthrie has switched cars, and as per the rules, when you switch cars, you relinquish 50 points. So that means he's sacrificing a huge haul of points and jumping to another car that he's perhaps more confident in, and he's going to go for it from here on until the end of the season. Now, it's quite significant that it's a big risk from William Guthrie, but what I've read on Discord per reaction to his car switch, he has done the maths and he's worked out that it is the best choice for him. So, okay, whatever you say, William. We'll see what happens when it comes to season end. But it's a straight out battle between 3 drivers in this category, and he's headed at the moment by Max Daleiden. He didn't have his best round at Spa, but he still scored good points, and that's what matters in championships like these. He leads the championship by 12 points from both William Guthrie, the aforementioned, and also Ben McCluskey, the sprint race winner from last week. What a round he had, and he's tied second place with William Guthrie. Gaz Williams, our league admin, is in 4th position with Hugo Silver in the 5th position. Now, the silver category, last week's winner was Luca Munro. He took a Grand Slam last week, both race wins, and all fastest laps and pole position. So, Huge haul of points for him, and it means he is sneaking into contention for that championship. He sits 4th at the moment, but top of the table, consistent all season long. Paul Williams takes the lead of the championship following Spa. We have not seen Diogo Sá for a couple of rounds, so I assume he's dropped out of the series, which is a big shame, but it means advantage Paul Williams, who has been there or thereabouts in 2nd or 3rd all the way through the season and chipping away at those points, and he gets himself a deserved 20-point lead, probably more than that relatively speaking, heading into tonight. Nathan Healy is 3rd position, another driver that's been quiet and consistent all the way through the season. Spa wasn't his best round, I think he retired from the feature race, but he currently holds 3rd place, 2 points ahead of Luca Monroe, who was the aforementioned Grand Slam winner of last week in that silver category. And Miguel Alpalau, who I also think has dropped out of the series, holds 5th for the time being. In the GT3 Gold category, and this was another category that saw some level of drama last week, Karel Pucalka was leading the race, but he had to fuel save at the end of the feature race, and it did mean he lost his win on the final lap to Edwin Simpson. But what had happened on that final lap is Karel Pucalka was pushed across the line by his teammate Jesse Payne-Wilkins to ensure that his teammate got himself that race win. So fantastic driving. Definitely go back and watch that live stream after tonight, of course, because that was some race. But Karel Pucalka still leads the championship, still scored the most points out of the GT3 Gold category heading out of that round. So top of the table for him, and he's not quite 100 points clear yet. He is 86 points clear at the moment, so a big amount. And actually, heading out of tonight, it is actually possible that he can win the championship. We'll see if he can at the end of tonight. I'll check out the most amount of points you can score in one round. I reckon it's 46. So if he can get himself 46 times 2, 92 points clear of Jesse Payne-Wilkins out after tonight. Not really considering the endurance race here, but let's just go with around 100. If you can get 100 points clear after tonight from Jesse Payne-Wilkins et al., he could secure the championship tonight. So very interesting indeed. Payne-Wilkins, Karel Pucalka's teammate, has got himself into 2nd place finally. He's been chipping away at that all season, and he's got himself there, but only by 1 point ahead of Gavin Gardner at the moment. I'm just trying to see if Gavin Gardner's racing tonight. Can't quite see him on the list, but it'd be good to see if a battle can ensue between Jesse Payne-Wilkins and Gavin Gardner for that 2nd spot in the championship. Ben Alchia is 4th, with Alan McCain in 5th position. And last week's feature race winner, Edwin Simpson, is 6th position. GT3 Silvers. Ben Benneyworth won the sprint race last week, and Matthew Cheverton won the feature race. It was a good battle all night in both races between Benneyworth and Cheverton, but Cheverton ultimately got himself quite far out in front in the feature race to take the win. But it is Ben Benneyworth who's leading the championship by 87 points, so he's another who could tie up the championship after tonight if he scores a good haul of points tonight. He's leading in practice at the moment in category, so it's all down to him to secure that tonight. Nigel Stock takes 2nd position in the championship, and he's got that by 10 points ahead of Jake Pitt, who is back racing tonight. It's good to see him back following the last time we saw him, which was a race win at Road Atlanta. Phil McDougall is 4th from Matthew Cheverton, last week's race winner, in 5th position. Bronze category. Jeffrey Kruger won the sprint race, and he was on course to win the feature race. He really was. But final lap incident involving a prototype put him out of contention for that win, and he relinquished it to Stephen de Gravelia, who took a win on home soil last week. Kruger still scored a big haul of points, and I wouldn't say it's put a huge dampener on his championship, but he's still got to keep getting those results in because it's not quite as comfortable as other categories, let's just say. But Kruger, who's been dominating all season, and he continues to lead the championship by 43 points ahead of Elwyn Sykes, his teammate, and Stephen de Gravelia just 3 points behind him in 3rd position. Andy Chell in the Lamborghini for Quatermass Racing is in 4th position, with Andy Rooney in 5th position. And the team's championship. Full Tilt Motorsport still lead the championship, and that is the team equipped with Karel Pucalka and Jesse Payne-Wilkins, of course, a good haul of points out of last week, has got them top of the championship. Quatermass Racing with Andy Chell and Ben Benneyworth are second. They are quite some way down, but they still got a chance at that. Likewise with Snakes Unite Racing involving our admins, Ben McCluskey and Gaz Williams. So in the nick of time, we finish the points and we head into qualifying now. And like we said, the GT3s will head out onto the track first. There they are, heading out on the track now. And it's Karel Pucalka out nice and early there to get himself on track and get himself started in qualifying. So, yeah, here we are at Imola, and this is the 8th round of the championship. And we might witness some greatness tonight. We could well witness some drivers win championships tonight. We could. It just depends how the night unfolds, and we'll see if we can keep an eye on that as best as possible. So, Imola. Yep, we've seen and heard quite a bit about Imola in our pre-show just then. But what our track this is you can see on the track map up there. It's a very tricky track to drive in actual fact. It's fun because it's undulating, it's got nice sweeping corners, and it's a beautiful track to look at, but it is difficult to drive. Very easy to lose the rear end of the car, particularly on these corners such as the Acqua Minerale here, as we can see Karel Pucalka going through there now. And of course track limits is another thing. It's quite tempting to go over the track limits here because the runoffs on the outside of corners and on the runoffs generally around the track are quite inviting actually. As you can see there, he travels over the white line, does Karel Pucalka. You're allowed to do that to an extent on iRacing, but because there's no real gravel or grass to hinder your time, it's very tempting to take the car outside those limits. And that's where the 1X is from iRacing creeps in, of course. But here we go. We're going to do an onboard lap of Imola with our championship leader, Karel Pucalka. Here we go. We're heading nice and wide, heading out of the final stretch. Nice and tight to the wall. And we'll cross the line now to start a brand new lap here at Imola. Into the chicane of Tamburello we go, down to third gear, across the curbs we go, accelerating steadily out of the corner, taking all the curves and all the exit curbs with you. Heading up to the Villeneuve chicane now, a very short dash to the Villeneuve chicane, left here and then a sharp right here. Careful not to hit the gravel on the outside there, accelerating nice and late to make sure that you don't hit that gravel. Into the hairpin of Tozer now. Of course we saw Juan Pablo Montoya and Michael Schumacher come together here. So if you didn't see me, you were stupid, as Montoya said. It wasn't the exact quote, but it was along those lines. Up the hill, over the crest, into the left-hander of Piratella. This is the one that catches drivers out the most when it comes to track limits. Nice and clean there for Pucalka. Down the hill, into turn 11, 12 and 13, the Acqua Minerale. This is the corner where spins happen and offs happen quite a lot in these sports car races. Up the hill, over the crest, flattens out as we head towards what used to be called the Variante Alta. Right, left chicane here. It is now referred to as Grissini, after a driver who died in recent years, who was part of the World Superbike Championship, named Grissini. And now down the hill into the Ravazza complex. Two left-handers here, turn 18 and turn 19, identically shaped, and another one of those deceptive corners where you can't accelerate too early, otherwise you'll end up on the grass. And that was a lap of Imola, on board with our GT3 Championship leader, Karel Pucalka. Let's see what kind of a lap time it is from the full tilt pink driver. It's a 1:42, so it's a fairly long lap here at Imola. You know, you see Formula 1 cars and drivers doing this in around about 1:20 or something like that, and you think, wow, it's quite a quick lap. But in cars like the GT3s, and especially touring cars, it actually is quite a longish track. So, let's see who else is kicking about in qualifying here. We've got our bronze leader here. Now, Jeffrey Kruger, I have a bit of a chip on his shoulder this week. Well, I don't know the result of the stewards' performances. We saw Andy Chell off in the background there. He's taking a spin at the Tamburello chicane, or heading out of the Tamburello chicane. Not moving at the moment, so hopefully all is okay. Yep, he's getting moving now. I just wondered if there's like a wheel disconnection or something like that with the Lamborghini. But yeah, with with Jeffrey Kruger, who has topped the standings in bronze, coincidentally, he might feel a win was taken away from him. He was just driving through Blanchimont with a lap to go in the lead, and all of a sudden he's hit by a prototype. So I don't know who was actually at fault in the end, or who the stewards awarded a penalty to for that one. I haven't quite seen, but yeah, he will feel a bit aggrieved by that. He'll feel he had a win in his hands and and he didn't get it. So he'll definitely want to put an end to that kind of luck and put some wins in today, potentially. Benneyworth, as we mentioned, another potential for a championship today. If you can get the right amount of points out of today. Technically, he's up against Nigel Stock, but you have to say he's up against Jake Pitt as well. He's back racing tonight for Aztec Racing. He is probably back to try and make sure that Ben Benneyworth does not tie up the championship tonight. It's going to be difficult for him and Cheverton to do anything about Benneyworth. The same with Nigel Stock, but they'll do what they can. Benneyworth in practice was looking very good and very quick, actually. And actually, that BMW, I remember driving it in the 6 hours of Imola some time ago. It's a good track round here. A good car round this track is what I should have said. Mincing my words a little bit there. But he's... Yeah, that Beamer... Gotta stop calling that. The BMW, very good round here. Very good. It's quite an all-rounded car. It handles bumps fairly well. So I would say it's one of the optimal cars around here. Right, a couple of drivers haven't set times yet. Elwyn Sykes, Mark Kent and Andy Chell. Nigel Stock has put himself on the leaderboard, and him and Stephen de Gravelia are partially slipstreaming each other, as we usually see them do that from round to round, sharing racing lines with one another. And Stephen de Gravelia, one who got a win last week in the feature race, of course. He'll be hoping for continued success. And, well, me being part of his team manager, I know that he's going to be putting a good push in for second place in this championship. So, game on for that position. Who else we got out there at the moment? Got Ben Altria following the Ferrari of Jeffrey Kruger. He's in the gold category as Ben Altria for Full Tilt. Good slipstream here down the straight might actually help him if he is on a good lap, actually. Pucalka, Payne Wilkins and Benneyworth already in the pits. They might get themselves fresh tyres and head back out on the track. We have been seeing that lately from the GT3s, getting fresh tyres and heading back out on track. Altria did not go quicker. He was actually about half a second slower on that lap. But he has got the Ferrari out of the way. And he can focus on his lap here. Went a little bit wide heading out to Tamburello there. You don't really want to go that wide onto the curb round there. But, yeah, it was quite close heading out of that corner there. Andy Chell has put himself onto the board. A second down from Kruger. But he has put himself second in the category at the moment, the bronze category, which he'll be pleased about. Now, we can see what category each of these drivers are in quite easy, but it's actually a little bit tricky to do that for the drivers. They do have indicators on their HUDs in the car as to who's in what category, but actually they got a standings and relative that tells them their overall position as opposed to their category position. So it's quite hard for them to actually tell where they are in the field. A lot of them listen to the broadcast and like to hear out for me telling them that. But yeah, that's the tricky thing for these drivers. Mark Kent, we saw him at Spa last week. He didn't have the best of rounds, but I think he had an instant early on in the feature race, I believe. If my memory serves me right, I've got to try and remember 30 drivers and what happened to them. It's quite tricky, actually. But yeah, Mark Kent looking good in qualifying here. Third place, not too far off the top spot either. So this will be an invalid lap. We saw him go wide there at the Piratella, and he's catching up on the Crest Autosport cars. Good showing at the moment for Kent. Benneyworth has done good here. Now remember that of these of this qualifying, they do start in their overall positions in this sprint race coming up. And actually Ben Benneyworth overall, I can see on my timing tower that he is 5th overall of the GT3s here. He has got 2 cars in other categories between him and Matthew Cheverton, who's 2nd of the Silvers at the moment. That's what Benneyworth needs. He needs cars between him and his rivals to stop an attack from them. And he's actually getting a good slipstream here if you look at that. He has got Jesse Payne-Wilkins and Karel Pucalka dead ahead of him. Now if that's a benchmark you want to follow, that is the benchmark to follow. Following their lines, seeing if you can learn something from them. Russ Fowler's in the pits. He might not be able to get back out on track and do another lap. Andy Chell's heading back out on track. He probably won't be able to get another lap in as well, but some practice anyway for him. Like we said at the start of the stream, 12.5 minutes is what the GT3s will do out on the track, and then the prototypes will head out on track and complete the session. So both categories don't share the track at the same time, but they get the same amount of time on the track. Pucalka actually heads this group of cars. It's divvied up a little bit, and actually Pucalka is a 2nd clear of Jesse Payne-Wilkins at the moment, who's got a little bit of company in qualifying here. Just 1/10 down is Ben Altria, who's just put that lap in to go just a 10th behind, so he'll get another lap here to challenge for that 2nd place. But the Audi driver looking okay tonight. 15 drivers out there at the moment for the GT3 category, and it's around about the same for the prototype category, so a smaller grid than usual, but not by much, not by much. Elwyn Sykes has got himself into 2nd place here, his teammate just ahead of him. 3.5 tenths faster in qualifying at the moment. Elwyn Sykes challenging for 2nd place in the championship with Stephen de Gravelia, so they're the 2 to keep an eye on in this roundup of the season. Chell heads into the pits, so that's enough of qualifying for him. Cheverton's heading out of the final corners now, the Rivazza. And in that lovely sounding Mustang, he'll head into the pits. He will not complete his qualifying on the track. He'll head into the pits, and I just wonder if the drive's actually been given the instruction to come into the pits. I believe they have actually. I don't think they are allowed to complete their laps now because the prototypes will be heading out onto the track very shortly. Yes, I believe they're all heading into the pits right now, as I think they've run out of time. It is over 12.5 minutes, and I am just seeing that there are prototype drivers heading out on the track, actually, yes. In fact, they're well and truly out on the track. The track map playing tricks on me, actually. But, yeah, the prototypes now. So, just to round off our GT3s, our pole sitters for the GT3s are Karel Pucalka in the golds, Ben Benneyworth in the silvers, and Jeffrey Kruger of the bronzes. All our championship leaders are the pole sitters. Now, what's going to happen with the prototypes tonight? We've got Max Daleiden here, following William Guthrie as championship leader. So it might be a bit of a anything you can do, I can do better kind of thing from Max Daleiden here, who's really put the challenge to William Guthrie in recent rounds. But Guthrie here, driving a different car tonight. He's switched over to the Cadillac. And a new livery. He's usually sported the green full tilt livery in the Acura, but Guthrie's words on Discord were that the Acura just hasn't been the same. It just seems a lot looser since the last iRacing update, and I completely understand why Guthrie feels a different car might be a good idea at this point. Now, points-wise, it's got its drawbacks, but when iRacing updates a car and it doesn't feel the same as what you're used to, because it happened to the Dallara P2 once upon a time, and I hated the update they did to it. When that happens to a car, it is really frustrating. It can really put you off, and it can put you off the car entirely. And I think that's what Guthrie's done here. He's just thought, you know what, I'll go for another car, and I'll see if I can get myself back into good form. Because if the car has become that much more unstable, you just can't drive freely with it. And that's what we've been seeing from Guthrie for the early part of this season. Just driving so freely and making it look easy, actually. It's got to be said. And in recent rounds, he has struggled. Only he from what I've seen on Discord, he puts it largely down to the accurate update. So we'll see how he gets on tonight in that Cadillac. Also in the Cadillac, 4 full tilt, is Karel. And we've got Max Daleiden, championship leader of the prototypes, in the BMW. Across the line they go. Daleiden puts it on the board, but actually William Guthrie might have invalidated his lap there. So, early start, early push for Max Daleiden. Luca Monroe, Grand Slammer last time out at Spa-Francorchamps. He had a very successful round there, and he has put himself kind of in the running for that championship spot in the Silvers. It's a little bit up in the air, the Silver category in prototypes. A couple of drivers not racing the rest of the season. There's a couple of drivers coming into contention, and Monroe is one of them. Karel has put himself onto the board as well, second place in the golds at the moment. But actually there's two silvers who've put themselves third and fourth in the overall at the moment for the prototypes. And that's Monroe and Baker. They're ahead of Gaz Williams and Ben McCluskey, who, to be fair, haven't set the best lap times in the world. So they've thrown away a lap, basically, and decided to go for it again. So Max Daleiden here, where's Guthrie? Still just ahead. So Daleiden's still benefiting potentially from the slipstream of William Guthrie. And let's see what kind of a lap this is from Guthrie. I'd say he's pulled away from Max Daleiden on this lap, actually. So let's see what it is. 129.2 to beat for Guthrie, and he comes across the line, he does beat it, but Daleiden does go a little bit quicker as well. So into the 28s the two drivers go. It's a 28.5 for Guthrie and a 28.7 for Max Daleiden. Just 15 hundredths between them. Really not that much at all. Actually 16 hundredths. And Ben McCluskey puts himself on the board. He's in the 28s. 28.5. 12 hundredths off of Daleiden. Gaz Williams has put himself into fourth place. He's quite a bit down, actually. 29.5 for him at the moment, but there's still plenty of time left. And actually, these cars are rocketing around this circuit. They are 14-ish seconds quicker than the GT3s, which is incredible. Similar to Spa, and on other tracks we've seen around about 9-second gap between the two categories. So this is a track where the prototypes really are besting the GT3s, and we'll see them catch the GT3s quicker in the races. James McGaskill goes top of the standings in the prototype silvers. He's just done that lap of a 1:30.2 and puts himself 3/10 clear of last week's winner, Luca Monroe. So it's McGaskill, who entered the season late. He's put himself, I think, 7th in the standings heading into tonight. Just check my facts there. 8th in the championship. But with a couple of rounds and a couple of drivers not racing, he might well be able to get himself up to 5th place, maybe even 4th place, if he can keep the season going to the end. Nathan Healy, 3rd place. Good opportunity for him here tonight. Paul Williams is racing tonight. He hasn't set a time yet. But, you know, Nathan Healy can get himself into 2nd in the championship. And if he can put the challenge to Paul Williams, he might be able to challenge for a top spot in the championship. He's got to have one eye in front of him looking at Paul Williams and one eye behind him looking at Luca Monroe. And it might get very interesting come the final round in this silver category. It might just happen. We'll see. We'll see. Ben McCluskey has put himself into 2nd in the prototypes. He did that lap very quickly after his last one. And 6 minutes left in the session at the moment. McCluskey, 2nd there, just shy of half a 10th behind Guthrie. So very competitive in that gold category at the moment. Very competitive in that silver category. Paul Williams has put... Oh, we go back to that. Who was that spinner just then? It is Nathan Healy took a spin just then. He was going slow heading into the Piratella. Hit the grass a little bit and it just slowly sent the car around. And it was good avoidance there from McCluskey. Let's get back to the live pictures. There might be a bit of damage on that car, which will affect the rest of his qualifying. Slight damage, but it will affect the straight line speed and a little bit of the handling. I couldn't quite see anything deformed on the rear right of that of that Porsche prototype there. Now let's see what else is going on the track. We've got Guthrie heading towards the line. 4th place Gaz Williams is also heading towards the line. Gaz Williams has not gone quicker, but William Guthrie comes across the line. He has not gone quicker. Stays on the same lap time for the moment, and this looks like a big lap coming up from him. He's really powering it around the Tamburello chicane there. So see how he gets on this lap. McCluskey is also on a quick one. His last lap was quite a slow lap, so this will be the push lap as we head into the final stage of the qualifying. I reckon we will see 2 more flying laps from these prototype cars. Jamie Dorey, welcome back to him. He has been administrating / hosting the Next Gen Touring Car Championship, the NXTCC, on Tuesdays, commentated by my good friend Paul Walsh. So if you like your touring cars, go check that out. Compete in it if you wish. It's a very good series. Touring car drivers from the British Touring Car Championship do compete in that. So yeah, if you fancy getting your elbows out with the likes of Mikey Doble, go for it. But Jamie Dorey back in this series. Good to see him in the 13 car. Monroe has put himself back to the top of the standings. He did it around about a lap ago, and he's put himself back in front of Smigaskill and 0.369 clear of Smigaskill. So that's thrown down a bit of a gauntlet there. He's got a little bit of company here from Paul Williams. Paul Williams trying to sneak some slipstream in there to help himself out. And we had Nathan Healy back there, just tagging on the back there, but he's pulled to the side. This might be a reset to the pits. It is a reset to the pits for Nathan Healy. That will probably be qualifying done for him unless he can get out quickly and get another lap in. Daleiden crosses the line. Can he go quicker? Not on that one. That might have been a recharge lap. What about McCluskey? I don't think he actually went quick on that last lap. Worry, he crosses the line. Has he gone quicker? No, he has. He's gone a little bit quicker and a little bit closer to Jamie Dorey, but stays in 6th place. Felipe Salvino, I think here's his first round tonight, so welcome to the series to Felipe. We'll see how he gets on amongst this competitive prototype crowd tonight. Last few push laps from these prototypes. Back to the Silvers. Luca Monroe is heading out of the final corner. So is Paul Williams. To the line will go Paul Williams. Let's see if he goes quicker. His last lap was a 30.59. Might not have been a recharge lap. It might have been. And Monroe, that was definitely a recharge lap for him as well. So we'll see how them two drivers can get on this one. Let's keep an eye on William Guthrie coming to the line. Quicker. He goes about a 10th quicker. And Ben McCluskey crossed the line. He went quicker as well, but it wasn't enough. Just 3/10 shy. 29 thousandths shy of William Guthrie. So both of them really pushing and going quicker and quicker as each lap goes by. They might not get another lap in here. They might have crossed the line a little bit too late. Daleiden's on an outlap here, so he might cross the line in time to get 1 lap in. And he's only a 10th shy. So this is the time for Daleiden to really throw down a challenge to help his championship in the races to come tonight. Jamie Dorey will cross the line here. Mark Baker has gone quicker into 4th place. Sean Shoots has put himself into 7th place for the gold category at the moment. Max Daleiden's crossing the line now. Can he get a good lap in here? This is his lap starting now. Let's see how he gets on. Paul Williams is approaching the line next. 3rd place. A Across the line he goes. Paul Williams to the top of the silver standings. Our championship leader puts it to the top. A brilliant, brilliant finishing lap there from Paul Williams. Fantastic. Guthrie's gone into the pit. McCluskey will try again. Either that, he was trying to get it to the line quickly, and he didn't. He aborts this lap. Couple of drivers still out there. Couple of drivers still trying. Smagaskill is one of them. Into the pits he goes. We have got Gaz Williams and Max Daleiden still out there. Gaz Williams will be the first to come to the line. Let's see what he can do. Across the line he goes. And it is quicker, but he stays fourth. Okay, Rory to the line. Across the line he goes. And I think that was an invalid lap, actually. Slowing there is Jamie Dory. And off the track, I think, is Max Daleiden. So that's it. He pushed a bit too hard. And that will be qualifying over for Max Daleiden. Let's just see if we can see what happened. In fact, he might have got a 1x there because he went a bit wide heading off the chicane there. There'll be no more qualifying laps. He locked up and he just decides to abort it and put it into the tyres. Give his crew something to do in between qualifying and the race coming up. But there we go. That is qualifying done and dusted. 4 of the 5 categories have their championship leader on pole position. What a final lap from Paul Williams in the silver category to put himself into pole position for that prototype silver category. And Guthrie, well, he switched cars and he's shown what he can do in that Cadillac at the moment, albeit not too far clear of his rivals when it comes to time, but he still has put himself into pole and got himself bonus points for that. Very exciting session just then in this Next Gen Racing Multiclass League. We've got race 1 coming up very shortly. It is the sprint race. It'll be a 20-minute race. And what I'm going to do quickly, while we're waiting for a little bit of transition here, I'm just going to get the points on screen here. Not on screen, sorry, in front of me so I can see them and you lot can't. But yeah, you get a bonus point for pole position, a bonus point for fast lap in the sprints and the feature races. And yeah, there are more points on offer. Fastest lap of 2 points for the endurances, and you can score 50 points for a win in the endurance race. So it is very value adding getting that top spot in the endurances. But we'll go to the grid for tonight's race, and we'll get racing very, very shortly. William Guthrie lines up on the pole for the golds, and at the front of the grid for the prototypes overall for this opening race. He's got Ben McCluskey alongside him. Championship leader Max Daleiden will start third in the golds, with Gaz Williams, the league host, alongside. Fifth is Jamie Dory with Kay Warrior alongside him in sixth. Paul Williams, pole position of the silvers, with last week's winner Luca Monroe in 8th position. Sean Shute in 9th with James Magaskill in 10th. Mark Baker lines up 11th with Nathan Healy in 12th. Felipe Salvino in 13th. Pole position of the GT3s, Karel Pucalka lines up 14th with his teammate Jesse Payne Wilkins on the next row, 15th. Ben Benneyworth will line up 16th, and he's leading the championship for the GT3 Silvers. Third overall in these GT3s, a very fine qualifying performance for him. Ben Alcher is 17th with Alan McCain in 18th. Russ Fowler 19th with pole position of the bronze category, Jeffrey Kruger 20th. Matthew Cheverton 21st with Elwin Sykes in 22nd. Jake Pitt and Nigel Stock line up on the 12th row. Mark Kent is 25th. Stephen de Gravelia in 26th. Andy Child 27th. Davide Favo in 28th. And Mark Sykes 29th. So there we go. I managed to get through the grid for once before they got going on the rolling lap. Let's go for this sprint race. We're going to get going very shortly. So on the track we are... That is down by the Aqua Minerale corners. We'll get going. And it'll be a half lap or so. I'd say it's around about half the lap for this formation lap. Normally it's a little bit shorter, sometimes a little bit longer. Spa last week, they got going from the exit of Blanchimont, so it was quite a short run to the line. So they have a chance here to actually warm up their tyres. Do these drivers. So what we normally see is a gap between the prototypes and the GT3s. And when these drivers get to the line, they have to maintain safety car or pace car speed until the lights go green, until the marshal and the spotter in the car says go, 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 or green, green, green. You must maintain the same speed as the safety car, which if we look on the dashboard, it's around about 55 miles per hour or 50 miles per hour. They must maintain that. And then it's foot down to start the race. McCluskey keen to get away, but they're onto the main straight now, and we'll get going very shortly for this opening race of the night. The safety car is in. They must hold their speed, and when the lights go green, we'll be racing here for round 8 at Imola. Away we go, lights go green very late down the straight there, and it actually looks like a pretty good start from Max Daleiden. He's already on the inside of Ben McCluskey, heading into turn number 1 at Tamburello. Into the corner we go, it seems. Oh, a bounce across the curb actually from Sean Shute, but he's managed to get away with it. GT3s into Tamburello they go. Good start there for Pucalka. He's headed out in front. We've got Ben Benneyworth here on the outside of Ben Alcher, and he's just trying to maintain things. Oh, and there's the prototypes off on the side there. Just about trying to avoid the action, and Ben Benneyworth hits the prototype. Off the track he goes. So there was a prototype spinning across the track. I think it was Felipe Salvino, and that has affected the silver championship leader here already in this race. The other GT3s have gotten away. Oh, and Malin McCain spins round, and it has really caused a concertina effect there, heading through Tozer, but a lot of the drivers avoided it. Russ Fowler came off worse for wear there as well. Alan McCain as well. So it is really scruffy at the start of this race for the GT3s. Trying to avoid the prototypes, of course. That's realistically what happened. But a very tricky start for this GT3s already. Guthrie leads, though. 3/4 of a second clear of McCluskey, nice and early on in this race. Monroe has taken the lead in the silvers. Paul Williams dropped down to second of the silvers from his pole start. He's behind Smagaskill and Monroe. Kruger leads the bronzes in the GT3s, and they're really split up already. Up the road here is Ben Altria of the golds, and the top 3 are really clear of everyone else in the pack. But it is the silvers that really did get affected the most. Jake Pitt leads the category, and we've got Elwyn Sykes here struggling a little bit, and we've got a prototype trying to head into the pits there. That was Kerwari. He's got a rear wing missing, so he'll take a fast repair. He'll head back out on track, and he'll have to recover some of his race. But we've got Nigel Stock here, trying to hunt down Elwyn Sykes here. He'll see the leader of the silvers just ahead of him. They'll know that Ben Benneyworth is on the side struggling, and actually Matthew Cheverton there on the front of his car has got a little bit of damage, so that'll be affecting his grip. That'll be affecting his straight line speed. Let's see where Benneyworth is. I think he might have retired to the pits, actually. Yeah, I can't see him out on the track, so he's aborted the race. There's going to be no points for Benneyworth tonight in the sprint race. Oh, we got a battle in the bronzes. De Gravelia taken to the inside by Andy Chell, but he covered it off. Stock still chasing Sykes, trying to get past. Tricky track to overtake is Imola. And if he can get rid of Sykes nice and early, he can focus on catching Jake Pitt. But Jake Pitt will want these. Oh, and there's a spin. I thought there was a spin. Elwyn Sykes taking a spin at the Aqua Minerale, holding his brakes, making sure that he doesn't re-enter the track in front of anyone. Now let's just take a replay here. We get a better angle of it here. Yeah, under braking, the car just slipped sideways. Oh, Nigel Stock did well to avoid that, but he'll have a slowdown, and I think he would have lost that position. He has. He's down to 3rd place and dropped a little bit of time from Matthew Cheverton, so a little bit of bad luck has come Nigel Stock's way, albeit he did avoid the incident very, very well. Back to the prototypes. Nearly a second clear is William Guthrie. McCluskey in second here. Daleiden in third. Trying to latch onto the back of these two. Now remember, for the feature race, it is the reverse grid of these results within each category. So Guthrie finishes first, he starts at the back of the finishing gold category drivers. That's the important thing to remember in this series. And that might be what Daleiden is hoping for. He might just think, well, I'll stay behind Guthrie here, get in front for the feature race, get more points. That might be what's going through his head. It's a championship game now, strictly between these three drivers, as McCluskey is nearing potential of a championship battle. In fact, he is in that championship battle. He's tied on points with William Guthrie heading into tonight. Just 12 points down from the lead. So it is strictly between these three now. Silvers. More than a second clear as Luca Monroe. And him and Smagaskio managed to get in front of Paul Williams, who's leading the championship heading into tonight. Karel Pucalka leads by 5 seconds, doing what he does normally. I suspect he'll be really, really hopeful of a good haul of points tonight. If he can get a good haul of points on his rival, which technically is Jesse Payne-Wilkins, he might be able to come away with, from tonight with the championship win. I think it is a little bit out of Ben Benneyworth's stretch now to get that out of tonight, which is a real big shame, because Benneyworth put in a good effort in qualifying. But it does open that silver category up a little bit more for us viewers. Very interesting. But yeah, 18 plus 25 points for the race wins tonight, if you can secure those winning points. So that puts you up to a good number of 53. And if you get the bonus points to go along with that, 56 points is what you can get. Have I done my maths right there? No, I haven't. It's 46 points, to excuse me, for maximum points out of these sprint and feature race rounds. So, 46 times 2 is 92. So, realistically, if Karel Pucalka is not 92, because there's a endurance round to consider as well, which the maximum points you get from that is 52. So, 52 plus the previous number we mentioned, 46. Need someone to do the maths for me. Yes, we'll call it 100 points clear. Come on, Alex, do the points. Do the maths. 52 points plus 46 from maximum points round next week, which is round 9. 98 is the number I'm getting. 98 points is what you need to be clear. And heading into tonight, there's too much maths going on right now. Yes, if you can lead the championship by that amount of points out of tonight, Pucalka will win the championship. We have got an incident a little bit further back. Sean Shoots getting away now. Let's just see what happened to him. He's out on his own out there before this incident happened. I think he was involved in the incident with Felipe Salvino earlier on in the race. Yeah, hitting the curb, the little bump on the inside of the curb, and that sends you round in these low ground effect cars of the prototypes. Closest battles on the track. Stock versus Cheverton. Stock has caught up to Cheverton. Now in this silver category, Nigel Stock is pretty much battling Jake Pitt for the championship, for second in the championship. If Jake Pitt can finish the season, this is pretty much Nigel Stock's battle and Jake Pitt's battle is with one another. So Stock will be eager to get that into second place. He's got company from Mark Kent as well. Oh, and there was a spin at the back there. I think that was Andy Chell. Oh, yes. Oh, big incident here. Out of the Aqua Minerale, and the track is blocked. Drivers are avoiding it. Oh, and that was a very, very close call for one of the prototypes there. Davide Favo can't get it going. The front end's missing from that car, actually. We'll get a replay. He reverses off the track just to be sure. I believe that's what he's done. We'll go to this replay. Here's Andy Chell. And we've got prototypes heading around them. Oh, and he just about avoids McCluskey there. Contact with McCluskey, actually. More contact with him. And a spin for Andy Chell there in the Lamborghini. And he tries to get it away. And on the outside of... that was Davide Favo then. Couldn't quite avoid it because he, on his left, had a prototype. And that'll put Andy Chell and Davide Favo out of the race. They probably couldn't get back going again. They're both in the pits. Will they get going again? Remains to be seen. So there's been plenty of incidents so far in this race. Close here between Smagaskill and Paul Williams. Paul Williams actually held the inside going into Toza, but the outside of Toza there is probably the quicker line in these prototypes, and Smagaskill was able to power it out the corner and keep second place. Half of the race expired. Plenty has happened already. Luca Monroe lapping a car there, quite close between him and the GT3s. Thing is, with this track, it is such a difficult track to overtake on, that lapping the GT3s, which the prototypes are doing now for the first time in this race, is very difficult. Both for the prototypes to get around these GT3s and the GT3s to make sure they stay out of the way of the prototypes and keep their races safe. Stock lets through Paul Williams. Cheverton would just be one eye on his mirror, hoping that the prototype waits for the straights to overtake. That's the main thing, is when the prototypes overtake you into the corners, which they do recommend you don't, but that's when it puts you off the most. Likewise with the prototypes, where they've got to take a late lunge on the GT3s to get into the upper position, get in front, shall we say. Overtaking in the corners rapidly slows them down because it's really not their optimal lines to the corners. They're able to take the corners so quickly that the racing line is the only line really for these prototypes. Daleiden has clawed in Guthrie a little bit whilst the prototypes have been lapping the GT3s for the first time. And passing Karel Pucalka there goes Guthrie. Had to back off a little bit just to make sure that he doesn't hit his teammates. And Daleiden is real close now. Lap out of this race here, and whilst they've been lapping the GT3 traffic, Daleiden has been the better of the two, or the quicker of the two drivers. Let's get on board for the main straight. Let's see what Daleiden can do in comparison to Guthrie on this straight here. We have got an incident further back involving Mark Kent. We'll go back to look at that very shortly. But actually Daleiden is closing a little bit actually on Guthrie down the straight there. Not quite as much as he probably would have hoped. So Mark Kent has dropped a few places. Well, actually he's only lost an overall place to Stephen de Gravelia. This is what happened to him, and that's Nigel Stock, third place at the time, just ahead of him. Oh, very hot into Aqua Minerale, and the rear end just gives way, trying to slow it down even more. Nice 360 there to get it going again. Lovely. But drops a bit of time, does Mark Kent. He'll start very high up on the grid. In fact, he'll be front of the Silvers for the next race. Gaz Williams and Jamie Dory, both next-gen resident drivers, but the team displayed for Gaz Williams is Snakes Unite Racing. Wonder why they're called that. He's having a battle here with Jamie Dory at the moment. They've dropped a bit of time from the top three here. But they're good mates. They're both colleagues within the next-gen team. They'll have some fun out there. Let's see if Jamie Dory does anything on this main straight here. This is the view from Gaz Williams. And Jamie Dory in the BMW there, just closing in very, very slowly. Might he make a move going into Tamburello? No, he backs out of it. He decides he wasn't close enough. And actually, because the braking distance in these cars is fairly short, you are really risking a late braking move in these cars on a track like Tamburello. But Jamie Dory looking at Villeneuve, just trying to put off Gaz Williams a little bit. Trying to say, yeah, I'm quicker, Gaz. I'm coming for you. What about Tozer? Doesn't go for the move. It's going to try and line up a nice straight exit here and power out the corner and up the hill. Just over 5 minutes to go in this race. The first race of the night, the sprint race. We've got another race coming up later on, the feature race, a 1 hour race where pit stops will be involved as well. Into the Variante Alta or the Gresini chicane. Daleiden is still within a second of Guthrie, but actually Guthrie is just pulling away a little bit. A tenth here and there is what Guthrie is clawing away from Daleiden. And actually on that last lap, Gaz Williams has responded to Jamie Dory's threat and has got away a little bit. Relieved the pressure somewhat. Nigel Stock is getting close to Cheverton again. And that's the thing with Imola. Catching one thing, passing is another. That's the tricky thing with Imola. It's so tricky to find an overtaking spot. If you can't do it into Tamburello, where else can you do it, really? Going into the Ravazza is a good opportunity, but you are very reliant on a good exit from a very difficult Gresini chicane. And that's not what Nigel Stock just got. He might be trying to line up a move somewhere else on the track, and it might be Tamburello. 4 minutes to go in this session, so around about 2 or 3 laps. The silver category in this race really turned on its head early on in this race, with Benneyworth involved in an incident with the prototypes and has put him out of the race. This means that big points for these drivers on their championship rival is available for this top 3, range of 18 to 13. Closest battle on the track is this one at the moment. There is a close battle between Paul Williams and Smagascale for second in the silvers. Dory is still fairly close to Gaz Williams in the prototype golds. Trying to find a way. Now they're in similar cars. Now remember this, well, I didn't actually say it earlier on in the stream. It's actually one piece of information I accidentally missed. But this is a fixed setup series. It means that the car you are given and the setup you are given, you cannot change. They're not even allowed to change anything like traction control or ABS, no wing settings, no tyre pressures, nothing like that. The only thing they can actually change in this car is the brake bias, which does help a little bit. Brake bias can be quite effective on iRacing, actually. But that's the only thing you can do in these cars. So both of these drivers are driving exactly the same cars. So it really is down to driver skill between these two in the Mustangs here. And actually a good run out of the final corner there from Nigel Stock. And I'm just keeping an eye on the relatives up there for the prototype golds. As McCluskey has got close to Daleiden, as Daleiden has dropped off of Guthrie a little bit. To the outside goes Nigel Stock into Tamburello. He's going to take a late apex and he's going to try and power it out of Tamburello and towards Villeneuve chicane. Might not be close enough to make a move here, but he is really all over the rear of the Aztec Sim Racing Mustang there. Up to Tozer. You can take many different lines through Tozer to get yourself either a good exit or a good corner speed. Dory's close to Gaz Williams as well. We'll go back to that battle between Stock and Cheverton very shortly, but past Gaz Williams goes Jamie Dory. made his way past the straggling Ferrari there and got himself into 4th place. While they're lapping the GT3s here, he took the opportunistic move past Gaz Williams and into 4th position. Gaz Williams will have to respond now. And it's split up a little bit for these golds, the top 3 in the golds. Daleiden will be pleased with 2nd place right now in that category. It's not dropping too many points from Guthrie, but it's keeping tight with him. And they're now passing the battle we were just watching for the silvers. Still ongoing. Daleiden safely passes Stock and Cheverton. Stock's dropped off a little bit from Cheverton here. And this will be the final lap of the race for all of these drivers. Close battle also for Paul Williams and McGaskill, close to each other. As they head across the line to start their final lap. But with them passing the GT3s now, and they're quite gaggled together, it's quite tricky for these prototypes to actually make a charge for their rivals in a situation like this. So this would be the point in the race where these drivers will take the cash. They will cash out for the points they'll get from this race. They'll look to the feature race where there are reverse grids within each category. It's still close between Spagaskell and Paul Williams. Getting a little bit squirrely out of the corner then was Paul Williams, but he's so close to the rear of Spagaskell. Paul Williams has definitely got the pace to contend against these top 2. He had it in qualifying. So we'll keep a merry eye on that as things climax here for the sprint race at Imola. Back to the top goes William Guthrie. A little bit of a dip in luck, a little bit of a dip in form, but he's back to that top step, and so are Full Tilt within this prototype category. It's a win in the sprint race at Imola for round 8 for William Guthrie. Daleiden will cross the line in 2nd place, our championship leader in the prototypes, and Ben McCluskey 3rd. The silvers next. Luca Monroe making a habit of this. It's another win for him in the United Sim team, sponsored by overtake.gg. And good game indeed for Luca Monroe. He takes the win in the silvers. Smagaskale 2nd, and Paul Williams, our pole sitter for this race, ends up finishing 3rd. Pucalka will be next to cross the line. And the silvers have crossed the line, actually. Jake Pitt has taken the win in the silvers. Matthew Cheverton 2nd, and Nigel Stock couldn't quite complete it for the win. Jeffrey Kruger has also crossed the line in the bronze category. A win for him, another win for him, and a long way clear. He's actually beaten all the silvers, has the bronze category winner. Stephen de Gravelia finishes 2nd, and 3rd place Elwyn Sykes. So Stephen de Gravelia takes some points back for that silver category, and actually that might put them level on points. Oh, it doesn't. He's 1 point shy. Is de Gravelia for 2nd place heading out of this race. And a win for Karel Pucalka. Another win for him, and he's well and truly on his way to a potential championship win tonight, because Payne Wilkins has dropped down to 3rd spot and relinquishes some points to Pucalka, and relinquishes 2nd place to Ben Altria. And actually, it happened on that lap. So we'll take a quick replay. They've crossed the line to finish 2nd and 3rd, and this was the move for it. This is Ben Altria hunting down Jesse Payne Wilkins across the curbs of the chicane. There goes Payne Wilkins, and he pulls over. I wonder if it was a slow down penalty for Jesse Payne Wilkins. But that was the move that did it. It wasn't the most conventional of overtakes, but it gets Altria 2nd place. One of his better results of the season. So here we go. We're going to round off the results here for this sprint race of round 8 of the championship at Imola. In the Prototype Gold, William Guthrie takes the top spot by 2.6 seconds from Max Daleiden, the championship leader. Ben McCluskey takes 3rd place, just a few tenths down from Daleiden. Jamie Dory challenged Gaz Williams for that 4th spot and took the 4th spot, with Gaz Williams, our host, taking 5th in the end. Kewari did finish for 6th place, and Felipe Salvino 7th place, but a DNF for Sean Shute. Prototype Silvers, and the winner again, Luca Monroe. I believe that is 4 wins in a row for Luca Monroe, and he wins by 2 seconds from Smagaskale. Paul Williams 3rd place, 3.7 seconds down from Luca Monroe. Mark Baker takes 4th, and Nathan Healy in 5th position. The silvers for the GT3 Golds. Another win for Karel Pucalka. Like we said, well and truly on his way to securing the championship tonight. If he can win by nearly 100... if he can lead the championship heading out of tonight by 100 points. Ben Alcher, 2nd position, just ahead of Jesse Payne-Wilkins, but both of them 18 seconds down from Pucalka. Pucalka's really cooking tonight, it's got to be said. Alan McCain 4th, and Russ Fowler finishing 5th position. Over to the silver category now, and Jake Pitt takes the win, taking the lead very early on, with Ben Benneyworth retiring within a few corners, actually, who had started pole position. So we'll see if he can fight back in the feature race coming up later on. 5 seconds clear was Jake Pitt, the race winner, from his teammate Matthew Cheverton, who held off a charging Nigel Stock. Mark Kent takes the 4th spot. Bronze category, Jeffrey Kruger takes the win by some margin over Stephen de Gravelia, who's clawed some points back, as we mentioned, on Elwyn Sykes. It's now only 1 point between the two in that bronze category, fighting for 2nd position. A lap down for Davide Favo and Andy Chell, who were involved in results earlier on in the race, we saw in the Aqua Minerale section, and Mark Sykes did not start the race, I believe. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's been the opening race of the night, the sprint race here at Round 8 at Imola. We're going to go away for a quick break, enjoy some nice screenshots and pictures taken by Benji Sim Photos from the last round at Spa-Francorchamps, while we go for a break while the server gets set up for the feature race. Don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. Grab a drink, grab something to eat, something like that, and we'll see you very shortly for the feature race in tonight's round. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Welcome back everyone to Imola in the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy, just southeast of the city of Bologna. Brilliant racetrack, hosted in many series including WEC and Formula 1, but it hosts the NXTGEN Racing Multiclass League tonight, and the Multiclass League involves plenty of things including prototype cars of the highest tier of prototype endurance racing in the world, as well as the GT3 category, one of the most popular categories on iRacing at the moment and in real life. We are racing the sprint race and feature race format today. The feature race is coming up very shortly. It will be a 60-minute race and it will involve pit stops. There are reverse grids for this feature race coming up shortly. Now we'll go through those grids when the race is about to start, but it will be the results of the sprint race reversed in each category. So the winner of the gold category will start at the back of the gold category in this race coming up. NXTGEN Racing Multiclass League has many sponsors, affiliates and partners that help run the show. Huge thank you to them, and they are Benji Sim Photos, who you saw some of his work in the interval there, Mark Sykes Designs, Higgins Automotive, Powermax Racing, Motorsport UK, Esports Division, Sam Cases, Joyce Design and Douglas Motorsport. The calendar is as follows, and we are heading to Algarve International Circuit, aka Portimao, next week. Today we're here at Imola, but we started off the season 2 months ago at Mugello Circuit, just northeast of us here at Imola here today. But then after round 1 we headed over to Spain for the Aragon Circuit. Silverstone GP hosted round 3 of the championship, and round 4 of the championship was at the Indianapolis Road Course. Road Atlanta was round 5 of the championship, and the second of 3 endurance rounds was on Independence Day at Sebring in Florida. Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium hosted round 6 of the championship, and that was a week ago today. Today we're here at Imola in Italy, and next week, a week today, we're off to Portimao in Portugal, as we mentioned. And the final round of the championship on the 8th of August. Tune in live here on NXTGEN Racing TV on YouTube and Facebook next week, and for the final round of the championship, where it will all unfold at Le Mans for a 2-hour endurance to end the season. There are talks behind the scene of next season. I'm not going to reveal much at the moment, other than there's going to be another season. And the potentially good news is that I'll be back commentating and broadcasting that. So big cheer. I passed the audition. At least I think I have anyway. So yeah, brilliant to be here representing NXTGEN Racing's entertainment for this series. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you have as well, ladies and gentlemen. It's been quite the season so far, and it does feel like now it's getting towards its climax. It's really getting to the nitty-gritty, and actually after the conclusion of tonight we may well have one champion already to our list. There are 5 drivers to be crowned champion eventually, and 1 team will be crowned. Oh, as we see a spin from Sean Shute there. A little bit of contact with Daleiden then. I think there was contact anyway, but yeah. At least it's the race and not practice. At least it's practice and not the race. But yeah, after tonight, we may well see Karel Pucalka take the GT3 Gold Championship. I need to figure out what he needs to do to finish the championship and win the championship. So heading into tonight, I know I was doing this math terribly earlier, but yeah, gotta go through it again. So heading out of tonight, Pucalka needs to be for 98 points clear. That's what he needs to be. 98 points clear, and we'll see if he can do it. And we're going to grid up for the next race of the night, and the grid will be as follows. Felipe Salvino will qualify on the top spot as he finished at the back of the Golds in that first race. Kerwari will start second position alongside Felipe. Gaz Williams will start third alongside Jamie Dory, both of which were battling intensely in that previous race. Ben McCluskey fifth with Max Daleiden in sixth, and William Guthrie seventh with Sean Shute in eighth. Nathan Healy will line up ninth, first of the Silvers, with Mark Baker alongside him. Paul Williams 11th and James McGaskill in 12th. 13th is the race 1 winner of the Silvers, Luca Monroe. Russ Fowler will start first of the GT3s, and he'll have Alan McCain behind him 15th and Jesse Payne Wilkins 16th. Ben Alcher will line up 17th with Karel Pucalka, the race 1 winner and potentially champion-elect after tonight, in 18th. Mark Kent will be 19th with Nigel Stock in 20th. Matthew Cheverton 21st with Jake Pitt in 22nd, our race 1 silver winner. Ben Benneyworth 23rd with Andy Chell in 24th and Davide Favo 25th. 26th will be Elwin Sykes, and the back of the grid will be Stephen de Gravelia and Jeffrey Kruger of the bronze category. So our prototypes lead us behind the safety car and will lead us towards the start line. This is a 60-minute feature race. We will see pit stops around about the 25-30 minute mark. We usually see them. We have 8 prototype got. Oh, it's a spin already. There's already a spin. Who was that? James McGaskill's had a spin already. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Everyone avoided him. We'll get a quick replay of that before we get going here. We've got a bit of time. I wonder if he dipped the clutch. Yeah, I think he might have dipped the clutch. There was a bit of contact between him and Paul Williams as well. Tiny bit of contact. It might not affect them too much. But a scrappy start already to the race for some of these drivers. But we're going to get away. Hopefully nice and clean. Salvino's already taken off, and he's not meant to. He's supposed to wait for the lights to green, and that's what the rest of the drivers have done. They'll get going, and away we go for this gold, this feature race, sorry, at Imola. Salvino is well and truly away. Good start, Salvino, but an illegal start. I just wonder if he'll get a penalty later on for that. GT3's head into turn number 1. Nice side-by-side battling from Alan McCain and Jesse Payne Wilkins. Payne Wilkins goes into second place straight out of the corner there. Heading up to the Villeneuve chicane. Nice and clean at the moment. Ben Benneyworth is one to keep an eye on, but we've got Jake Pitt alongside with Mark Kent. Contact between the two. Oh, and there's a spin up there. That's Luca Monroe. Excuse me, and Nathan Healy. So we'll go to a replay of that. That's going through the Villeneuve chicane. The two have had a collision potentially. Luca Monroe's in the red car at the bottom there. He gets alongside Paul Williams. Nathan Healy's just ahead. Contact between him and Spagaskill, and into the back of Monroe goes Paul Williams. So Healy spun with a separate incident, but it was Paul Williams and Monroe that came together, and Monroe has to stop here because he would have headed back out in front of the traffic of the GT3s. Now he's on a mission to claw it all back. But in the Silvers, Mark Baker leads. I don't think we've seen him at the front in the Silvers yet this season, so good start to the race for him. But at the front, Salvino leads away by 2 seconds. It was technically a false start from him, but I'm not quite sure what's going to happen in regards to live penalties or post-race penalties or anything like that. It's his first race. He probably should have read up on the rule book, but yeah, we can just have a laugh about these things sometimes. Right, GT3s. Russ Fowler leads. He started pole position in the GT3s, and he leads away by 3/4 of a second from Jesse Payne Wilkins. But Karel Pucalka's in 5th place. It's him versus Jesse Payne Wilkins. If he can get a 98-point lead by the end of tonight, he wins the championship. Kerwari has dropped down a few positions. just then. He's losing out to William Guthrie as well. I wonder if there's a problem on that prototype there. He's a sitting duck to all these drivers, and it's a huge gaggle of prototypes here. Very close contention in these early parts of the race. Williams across the curb there, and you can just see the cars really getting unsettled, and as soon as they get to the ground, they stick to the ground, and they're off away from that chicane. Down into the Ravazza. We got Guthrie all over the rear of McCluskey, and he nearly lost the rear heading out of the corner there. Guthrie in his new Cadillac here today. Winner of race 1, and we got Daleiden real close too. Gaz Williams heading to the right side and will be the outside heading into the Tamburello chicane. He might hold the outside here. He gets the inside for turn number 2. Brilliant move from Daleiden to take second place in the prototypes here, and crucially gets 1 place further away from his championship rivals McCluskey and Guthrie, who are stuck behind Gaz Williams now. Let's see what they can do. Car slowing to the side there. That is Davide Favo getting out of the way of these prototypes. Very close cluster of cars. He is just a crocodile of prototypes heading through Imola here. And they're slowly catching up to Salvino, who had the jump start. I think that's the correct term. And that'll be another car to contend with for these drivers. This is real close between them. They will want to get to the front of this pack nice and early, will these prototypes, and that's what Max Daleiden's done right now. And he's right on the back of Salvino. Nice early move here. Will be good for Daleiden if he can get through here past the Brazilian. Yes, he does. But what about Gaz Williams? Can he make a move on Salvino? Not yet. He'll have to get through Ravazza. This is a good opportunity for Daleiden to break away at a crucial point. It's very difficult to outpower someone down the straight in these cars. Daleiden's already more than half a second clear. 3/4 of a second clear of Gaz Williams, who can't make a move going into Tamburello. Not close enough. McCluskey behind, and Guthrie will be getting impatient here. As we can see, Guthrie real close to him. McCluskey there, trying to close the door, but just about getting to the inside was Guthrie. But a shallow line into the Villeneuve hairpin allowed McCluskey to defend that. He guards the inside, but Guthrie sneaks to the inside going into Tozer. Brilliant move, and McCluskey could do nothing but relinquish that. Into 4th place goes Guthrie. Superb move, actually, to the inside of Tozer. We're just getting a quick snap of that. Look at that. He challenged the inside here, but was able to keep it close going around the Villeneuve chicane. In fact, just about kept it alongside, but opening the door a little bit there was McCluskey, and that allowed Guthrie to just sneak it to that inside. Nice light braking to get it alongside and not overshoot it. Salvino still in 3rd place there, but a mistake from him, and going to avoid was Guthrie. He might get a slowdown for that. Oh, and McCluskey avoiding as well. Salvino dropping down the order here, and there's a big gaggle of prototypes here heading into the Ravazza. Oh, and a lock up there for Salvino, and McCluskey trying the inside, and he's dropping back more time now. Guthrie was able to get by. I don't think he had a slowdown from going wide there. iRacing might have recognised he was avoiding an instant, but he breaks away. Now he's got to get his head down and focus on catching Williams and Daleiden. But Daleiden is 2 seconds up the road. McCluskey that is a slowdown for Guthrie. And he drops down loads of positions. There we go. He served it, so he might have let the slowdown build up too much. Up here, McCluskey is through and potentially past Salvino. No, he's not, but Salvino goes wide. Just about keeps it going. But he's a sitting duck to all these cars, maybe included Guthrie, and he moves back up the inside of Kerwari. He's not giving up his Salvino here. But a nice undercut there from Guthrie past Kerwari. Past 2 cars straight away since that slowdown penalty. To the inside goes Guthrie. Contact between him and Salvino, and a spin from Guthrie. And rear wing gone. That means he's going to have to take a fast repair and limp back to the pits. This is a championship in tatters for Guthrie. This will not be what he wanted. Huge drama here in the gold category. We haven't even paid any attention to the other categories yet. Here it is, heading up the hill, out of Tozer. Salvino goes to the fend. Guthrie tucks back in behind. Late on the brakes is Guthrie. And then this contact between the two and it just sends Guthrie into a spin. Rory catches the back of Guthrie and that's what sends the rear wing flying. And that is bad news for the full tilt driver at this point in the championship, with Max Daleiden leading the way. And Guthrie in the pits very early on here, an unscheduled pit stop. He won't be able to make this a scheduled one either. It's too early in the race. That was a key moment in the championship, I feel. And it was all looking like such great racing, and it ended up being lots of contact involved, which is a shame. Right, let's give the other categories some tender loving care, shall we? Because we haven't yet, with 8 minutes into this race. We've just been glued to that prototype battle. Mark Baker is leading the silver category here. A second clear of Smagascale, who, if you remember rightly, had that little spin on the formation lap. Hasn't flustered him. He seems to be getting on with the job. He's got Kawari in front of him. Between him and Mark Baker, the leader of the category. Fowler still leads in the GT3 Golds. He's got Payne Wilkins all over the rear of him. And back here is our championship leader, Karel Pucalka, passing Alan McCain. So into third place goes Karel Pucalka, and although he's his teammate, he's got to set his sights on his teammate up front to secure that championship. But at the same time, Karel Pucalka will know that all he has to do is really cash in the points, and he could easily win the championship next week in the sprint race. Over to the silvers in the GT3s. Matthew Sheraton leads, and he's got Nigel Stock behind him. Familiar ground for Nigel Stock, being behind Matthew Sheraton, considering the sprint race he couldn't quite find a way past. I did have a chat to Nigel Stock in the interval then, and he said he just couldn't find the good place to overtake. He just couldn't quite get close enough to make a move. So we'll see what happens in this race. It might be able to do it in the pits. That'll be the crucial thing for this race, is to do majority of your passing in the pits if you can, as Luca Monroe passes by these cars. The recovering Luca Monroe, who was hindered on the opening lap. Over to the bronze category. Kruger is right behind these silver category drivers here. And Ben Benneyworth's recovering here. Started at the back of the silvers. He knows at this point in the championship, although he couldn't quite tie it up today, so far anyway, he knows he can do it next week. We've got the prototypes passing by here. That's McCluskey passing by, and we've also seen Gaz Williams and Max Daleiden pass by. The driver's still running, yes. Stephen de Gravelli is quite a way down. Not quite sure if anything has happened to him. I'll see if I can have a quick look through the events, see if anything's happened to him. Steve headed into the pits earlier on, but I can't see if there was an incident for him actually. So there must have been something. But yeah, very, very interesting. So Max Daleiden leads the championship heading into tonight, leads the race here in the feature race, which is a nice, juicy 25 points if you can secure the win in the feature race of these feature races, I suppose. 3 seconds clear of Gaz Williams at the moment. He's got a little bit of company from Ben McCluskey, his teammate. Now, they are teammates. One's fighting for the championship. One isn't as much, and that is Gaz Williams. Might there be some team orders here, and McCluskey gets let through and let go to go after Max Daleiden. 4 seconds is a big hill to climb. But with Guthrie out of the picture for the time being, might these guys be better served swapping positions? Stephen de Gravelli has had an instant. He's stuck in the middle of the chicane there. He's getting going again, but something's happened to him. This is entering Tamburello. I thought that was Villeneuve we were looking at there. Oh, the rear end gives way, and he's actually, I think he's got damage on that car anyway. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's the angle telling us that, actually. But yeah, struggling Stephen de Gravelli here. Got the prototypes catching him there. And through goes Gaz Williams and McCluskey. Pucalka's into second place here. Jesse Payne Wilkins has dropped down. Here's a replay of it. This is heading down the main straight, and he's alongside Russ Fowler there. Apologies for missing that. He's alongside. This is a battle for the lead at the time. Oh, contact between the two, and slight contact has sent Jesse Payne Wilkins around. It just loosened the rear end, as there was a little bit of front end contact from Payne Wilkins on the rear end of Fowler. He just wasn't able to get away again. Now, with that, and Payne Wilkins quite far down, well, 5th in the order now. Pucalka in 2nd here. He might well do it. Now, excuse me if I go a little bit quiet here. Excuse me. So, heading into tonight for the GT3 Golds, because this is the main one to look at tonight when it comes to securing a championship. So, a lead of 87 points. So, Pucalka needs to score 11 points more than Payne Wilkins out of tonight. Now, coming out of the sprint race, he already scored 7 more. So there's 4 more points to score than Payne Wilkins. So realistically, if Pucalka can win this race, and he's got his side, he's got the leader of the race right in front of him. If Payne Wilkins finishes, well, if Payne Wilkins finishes 2nd and Pucalka gets a bonus point, Pucalka wins the championship tonight. I believe so, anyway. So that's what we're looking out for. A 4-point gap out of this race between Pucalka and Payne Wilkins. Gavin Gardner's not racing tonight, the next-gen resident driver. And he's 3rd heading into tonight, so that rules him out. This is the closest battle on the track, with McCluskey and Williams still battling in the prototypes. We have actually got Payne Wilkins close to Ben Altria. Payne Wilkins would be keen to get Altria back. These two battled in the sprint race, and it was Altria getting the better of Payne Wilkins in that race. They're quite far down overall here, but they're 4th and 5th in category. It's still a good amount of points for them. That's what they've got to remember. But this is the battle for the lead. Quite close in the silvers as well. Just 1.4 seconds between Stock and Cheverton. And just, well, it was just shy of a second clear gap between Stock and Benneyworth. So that'll be one to keep an eye on shortly. Pucalka has played the patience game with overtaking for the lead quite often this season. He takes his time with it. He does it at the safest moment, I have noticed. But we have got Alan McCain here lurking behind in 3rd place as well. Closing in a little bit. Pucalka on that last lap was 7/10 quicker than Fowler. But now he's behind him, he'll do fairly similar lap times. Tricky track to overtake on, as we mentioned. I think it's easier to overtake here in the GT3s than it is the prototypes. But that didn't stop the first 8 minutes of this race seeing lots of prototypes side by side, jostling for position. Taking plenty of curb there was Pucalka, trying to set up a move potentially here on the main straight. Pucalka's behind, not quite closing in on this straight. Fowler seems to be doing okay right here. Can't quite make a move just yet. Got the BMW bronze driver, Stephen de Gravelia, getting out of the way there. Blue flags waved, and blue flags, you are obliged to move out of the way. In the next safe spot, of course. In the pit lane, in the Silvers, is Mark Kent. That looks like an fairly unscheduled pit stop. It might be risky pitting at this point, but it might be beneficial. Might avoid a lot of traffic, but also he had to take a repair. He had quite a scuffed front end on that Porsche there. And actually, there has been incidents between Salvino and Paul Williams. This is Salvino heading through Tozer. Just a spin by himself, but oh, Paul Williams meets the back of him there. Nowhere to go. Surprised to see the Acura parked on the inside of the apex there. Pucalka is alongside Russ Fowler, making the move there. It looked a bit squirrely there. Fowler trying to challenge around the outside, and actually he got a good exit, did Fowler. To the main straight we go. Pucalka might have to tuck back in and get some slipstream. He does. Also, Alan McCain there in third place, challenging with these two drivers. He's closed in for the past few laps, and he's ready to challenge here. To the outside will go Pucalka, late on the brakes. He's alongside. Can he hold it on the outside? Yes, he can. Very similar move to Daleiden early on in the race in the prototypes. He's through, and away he goes into the lead. And that surely is one hand on the trophy for Pucalka in the championship. But Alan McCain, he had such rotten luck at the start of the season. It has slowly come back to him, has his luck throughout the season. And this, at the moment, touch wood, touch every bit of wood you can, is his best performance of the season so far, position-wise. He's contending in the top spots here. Pucalka has wasted no time. He's blasting away from Fowler and McCain here. He's in the lead and he can just settle down and set the lap times that he does. But Alan McCain, what can he do? If he can get himself into second place, can he challenge Pucalka? The Audi seems pretty good tonight, because we saw Ben Altria doing very well in the first race. So the Audi seems to be a pretty good car around here, is my thinking anyway. In the BMW just behind these two is Stephen de Gravelia, not on the same lap, not in this battle. Already 2 seconds clear is Pucalka. That's the lead for him. Payne Wilkins is a long way down. Well, he's 5th place, but he's more than a minute behind 2nd and 3rd place. So it's going to be a bit of a stretch for him to get back onto that podium spot. Realistically, he needs to go for 2nd to try and keep the championship going, but because it's his teammate as well, he might not feel much of a need to go for it. That's the thing. So in the Silvers here, Cheverton's broken away a little bit from Nigel Stock and Benneyworth. Benneyworth, who retired from the sprint race. Incident very early on. Let's see what he can do in this race. He takes to the outside going into Tozer. Up the hill, go. And that's the prototypes passing by for the 3rd time. Now Cheverton has got Jeffrey Kruger between himself and Nigel Stock, which might be helpful. Kruger's leading the bronze category. You could argue that he's got pace for the silvers, but the thing is, at the start of the season, when drivers get categorised, he must have been at bronze category pace, and he has developed as the season has gone on. That's the reality of it. You can't really move drivers midway through, and they are contending for championships. But Kruger driving a great race here. Big lead in the sprint race and a big lead here in the feature race so far. Contending with that silver category, and you've got to say, if these drivers in the form of Stock, Cheverton, maybe Benneyworth and Kruger are all in the silver category next season, you've got to say this will be a good battle to watch. Okay, well, we're trying to get around Jeffrey Kruger, and he just about had to avoid that. Okay, Rory was well and truly on the inside, but it looked like Kruger was going to keep going to the apex, but they do avoid contact. It might have been a little bit deceptive from our angle there, but that's what it looked like. It's quite split up for the prototypes here. Daleiden has a really comfortable lead. This will be exactly what he needs. This will be exactly what he wants as well. Nice, easy first place here. To be fair to Daleiden, go back to him now, on that opening lap, or the opening couple of laps, he was able to get himself through and to the front well. And it was, I'm not saying other drivers didn't, but it's just one of those things. You're in a certain place at a certain time. Oh, hang on. We've got an incident between Stock and Benneyworth. Stock is rear end into the barrier, rear wing missing, and Benneyworth was just looking at him, and he's now nosing the tyres. Can't seem to get it turned around. So let's go to a replay, see what's happened between these two. This is heading into the Grassini chicane. To the inside goes Benneyworth. Oh, that's a tricky one, and that is going to very much ruin Nigel Stock's race. You have to take a fast repair. Benneyworth might have gotten away with that damage-wise. He's got a little bit on the front right. You can see he goes into the pits. He might be able to make this a scheduled pit stop. Stock also, but a lot of time lost for the two of them. That's going to make Cheverton pull away, and it will bring Jake Pitt into the fray, I think. Jeffrey Kruger is also in the pits. I wonder if he was involved in that. He wasn't. But drivers are taking their stops now. That was Pucalka. He's already done his stop. He's pitted now, and he's back out on track. So he relinquishes the lead, but that's his scheduled pit stop, and he's done it. Kruger, the leader in the bronze category, has done the same. Perhaps he's thinking, well, if the leader in the gold category is in the pits, I might as well pit as well. Cheverton leads the silvers now. He's got a fairly comfy ride at it. Jake Pitt's back here, lurking around. He's been a bit quiet in this race. Actually, Cheverton stopped, that's why. But Pitt has also stopped. I don't know if it was a scheduled pit stop, though. Let's take a look at the pit lap. Lap 5, yeah. I don't think that was scheduled from Jake Pitt. He might need to pit again. But Cheverton probably saw the drama unfold behind him from Benneyworth and Stock, and probably thought now's actually probably a good time to get my pit stop over and done with. So he might have a fairly easy ride from here on for the silver category win. But in the bronze category, because Jeffrey Kruger's pitted, that puts Andy Chell in the lead here. I think Chell's due a good result. He always comes in for a chat in the interview room. Very lovely to chat to. So, very good to see him get a really good result tonight. He's just ahead of Elwyn Sykes here. Sykes, who's going for second in the championship. He lost a few points in that opening race to Stephen de Gravelio, and in this race, it's safe to say he's going to get some back. So that's what he'd be keen for here, to get past Andy Chell and get more points behind Stephen de Gravelio. Let's head back to the prototypes for a little bit. Strong lead for Daleiden at the moment. Just one stop, and that's from Guthrie, and Jamie Dory has gone into the pits for his first scheduled pit stop. We're nearing the halfway point of this race anyway, so it'll be the point where the drivers will start to come into the pits. Smagaskill, leader of the Silvers, is in the pits as well. Luca Monroe has already taken a stop, but I believe that was unscheduled. It was lap 2. We've also got Fowler and McCain in the pits. Now these two calling each other's hand by the looks of it. Both very close pit stalls as well. The thing is, pitting at the same time, you're not able to trump each other except for when it comes to fuel load. So we'll see if one of them goes for a lesser fuel load than the other. This is the battle for second position, pretty much. They leave the pits almost the same time. Perhaps McCain left the pits a little bit later than Fowler did, although he arrived a little bit later as well. But this is the thing I was talking about. If you were McCain, perhaps you probably should have stayed out for an extra lap and try to overcut Russ Fowler. Fowler's got a little bit of a gap now, and McCain will have to close it back up. Bronze category drivers in the pits. Them two there is Andy Chell and Elwyn Sykes. Both get away at fairly the same time. That's the battle between them two for second place in the bronze category. Kruger has passed already, and he is back in the lead of the race. Benneyworth passes through, trying to recover his race here. Contact between him and Nigel Stock. Might be one for the stewards. Might be one for the stewards. The only thing I could think... I know Ben Benneyworth quite well. He doesn't do anything malicious or anything like that. And him sitting there waiting for Nigel Stock to go before him, he must have thought immediately, that might have been my fault. I'll wait just in case. It's what drivers tend to do when they sit and wait for drivers. If they have spun and they think they've caused a spin. You see that in sim racing quite a lot. You don't sometimes. It's something you don't tend to see in real life. You fancy your chances in real life, you just go for it. There's a lot more at stake in real life as well. In sim racing, it's just fun. We're all friends. It's just a informal gentleman agreement of a sim racer, I suppose. Well, it should be anyway. Right, the order is a little bit shuffled here, but we have got Max Daleiden in the pits. Gaz Williams as well. He's approaching his pit bay now. But Ben McCluskey has pitted, and he'll be heading back towards the pits. And maybe get that undercut on Gaz Williams. Daleiden's away. And he'll leave the pits long gone from McCluskey. Away he goes. Williams in the pits still. McCluskey's going through... Okay, McCluskey's lost time somewhere. He's right behind the Daleiden there. But he is a lap behind. What's going on with McCluskey? What's happened to him? Gaz Williams is back out on track. Gaz Williams has had an incident. And McCluskey went off the track as well around about the same time. So here's Williams. The car gives way, but McCluskey's on the other end of the track, and he spins around about the same time but on a different section of the track. Oh, nearly rear-ended it into the wall. So it's tricky for the Snakes Unite racing team, but this is McCluskey right behind Daleiden but a lap down. So actually I can see McCluskey has had some issues here. We can go back even further actually. So this is him following Gaz Williams. They were second and third respectively at the time. And when our cameras... Oh, okay. It did say McCluskey's jumped to the pits, so I just wonder if he's had... Oh, there we go. He's back there now. Let's go jump forward a little bit more. I think he's having some connection issues. I think that's what's been going on for McCluskey. Because he's in and out of existence. Yeah, and he's pulled over to the track side. So I think he's been having some internet issues and he's aborted to the pits. That's a real shame for McCluskey. A little bit of a lifeline for Guthrie, who's second now, just less than 10 seconds down from Daleiden. Now, he pitted lap 5, I think it was. Yeah, I think that's too early to pit. So, I'm pretty sure Guthrie will need another stop. But with all this going on behind him, and potentially a late pit stop, he'll need less fuel in the car, so he might get away with this. McCluskey's well down the order, so he'll be able to finish in front of him, so that's something for his championship. It's just what to do about the leading. Jesse Payne-Wilkins ahead of him that he needs to pass. Oh, something's happened in the silver category. Paul Williams has had an incident with potentially with Mark Baker. This is Paul Williams. Actually, no, they were separate incidents. This is Paul Williams bounced across the curb and spins. A minute further on, Mark Baker, his teammate, both in the Bentley liveries. Aqua Minerale, rear end gives way, dropped it on the grass and spins it round. It's getting really tough out there by the looks of it for the drivers. There's a lot more mistakes creeping in from drivers. Just putting a wheel too wide here and there. It's a tricky track, really tricky track, as we mentioned many times tonight. And it is catching out a lot of mistakes from a lot of drivers. So let's have a little bit of a rundown of our order as the first, well, the only round of pit stops have come around. So it's Daleiden in the lead of the prototypes. At the moment, it's Guthrie in second, but I believe he needs another stop. Warrior is in third position. I think that's net third position as well, so it could well turn into a second, but he has got Gaz Williams close to him behind. So this is an out-and-out battle for that third spot. Jamie Dory's not too far behind either. He's missed a few rounds, but his return to the series tonight, he's having a great round, actually. Silvers, Smagaskale leads, not too far behind the Golds, actually. And he's got a big lead over Mark Baker, who we saw took a spin just a moment ago. And it's Paul Williams, his teammate, in third position, who had an incident earlier on in the race that hampered him. Recovering the race 1 winner is Luca Monroe. Long way behind, but still on the lead lap. We'll see if he can claw in some additional times, potentially some additional positions. Golds, Karel Pucalka. One hand on the trophy, the championship trophy at the moment. Leads the category. Russ Fowler is second, near 19 seconds down from Pucalka, but second place. Fowler would be proud of that. He started from pole, yes, but he's kept his nose out of trouble. He's battled well with other drivers, and he's second place right now. Third in category is Alan McCain in the Audi. He dropped a little bit of time in the pits from Russ Fowler, but he'll try and claw that back. Cheverton leads in the Silvers. Bit of a kind of a get out of jail free card, as Benneyworth and Nigel Stock, his closest rivals, came together earlier on in the race. He's first place, and his teammate Jake Pitt not too far behind. Second place here. He's actually getting closer and closer to Cheverton as time has gone by. And yeah, that's one to keep an eye on. See if Jake Pitt and Cheverton come together for a battle. Benneyworth is third. He will be disappointed with tonight, but he'll still know that his championship is well in control of him. And he might be able to do it in the next round. Kruger leads the bronze category. Huge margin over Andy Chell. 36 seconds is just ticked over. But Andy Chell and Alwyn Sykes here, second and third in the bronze at the moment. They have been battling for the majority of the race, actually. And it will continue to go on. Andy Chell, this will be, I think, his better result of the season if he can tie this one up. Just take a look at his results, actually. Yeah, I believe it'll be... Sorry if you can hear the dog barking. He won't shut up tonight. Yeah, Andy Chell, I think this will be his best results if he can tie up this second place here. From what I can see, his best result of the season so far is 4th place at Silverstone, I believe. So, yeah. He's got to contend with Elwyn Sykes for that second spot. And Elwyn Sykes actually closing in a little bit in the last half a lap or so. So it's going to be an intense battle, I reckon, between these two for the remainder of the race. We said that about other drivers in this race, and it's ended in tears, actually, for a lot of them. But, yeah, hopefully this race continues to be good. We've got Karel and Gaz Williams still close together. Williams trying to close in on the full tilt car just ahead. Gaz Williams missed out on 4th place in the sprint race. He's 4th place right now. And we've got Jamie Dory not too far behind, actually. There is Jamie Dory, and just up the road there, you could see, was Gaz Williams and Karel. Had a good night, is Jamie. You'd be keen to catch up in the final 20 minutes of this race to that potential top 3 spots. What can Gaz Williams do here? Real close to Karel. Porsche versus Cadillac as well. Porsche driven by Gaz Williams. The Cadillac driven by Karel. And here we go past the GT3s. A bit of slipstream here from Gaz Williams. Might be very helpful. Might be able to make a move going into Tamburello. Seems very close here. But Rory will guard the inside. To the outside goes Gaz Williams. We've seen this move work many times tonight. Can't hold the outside. Karel covered it off pretty well, actually. And keeps 3rd place for the moment. As Williams looking to the inside there, can't quite make it. Jamie Dory's lurking there. He's getting near to under 2 seconds. It's creeping down and down. It's just gone under 2 seconds, actually, as he came into Villeneuve chicane. But the more these two battle, the slower they'll be, and the more Jamie Dory will close in. Could be a 3-way battle to the end of the race between these three. The main battles to look out for is this one for 3rd, potentially 2nd spot in the Prototype Gold, but also we've got 2nd and 3rd to look at in the bronze category. It's just tipped to over a second between Chell and Elwyn Sykes, but Gaz Williams is closer than the last lap, actually. He might be able to go for a move going into the Ravazza. He might be too close, actually. He goes to the outside, can't outbrake going into here. He'll try again on the main straight, heading out of Ravazza. Gaz Williams' lines just seem a little more clean than Karel's. He seems a bit tighter on the apex. Is not as close this time around. This might not be the move. But I've been wrong many times before. Not going to make a move going into Tamburello. Jamie Dory 1.3 behind. He's just there. Oh, and off the track there was Mark Kent. Did see some tyre tracks going off at Tamburello, actually. So we'll see what happened to him heading into Tamburello. Must have been under braking that something went wrong here. Oh, yeah. Oh dear, no. It looks like the brakes just didn't work there, actually. Something seems to be wrong with Mark Kent's car. He's crawling down the main straight, heading towards the Villeneuve chicane here, so something's gone wrong for the full tilt Porsche there. It might be race over for him. And I think that'll be a reset to the pits, actually. It will. And then again, not quite taking it off yet. There'll be local yellow flags there, heading into the Villeneuve chicane, but he's well off the track and out of the way. And there we go, that is a reset now. And that'll be Mark Kent out of the race, unfortunately. Williams has dropped off from Kawari a little bit, and Jamie Dory has reeled in Gaz Williams. Now, Jamie Dory and Gaz Williams are technically teammates, so I just wonder if they'll wait for this battle and see if they can catch up with Kawari, who's stuck behind the GT3s, but already Gaz Williams is challenging. Flash of lights there from Gaz Williams. Get a move on, mate. But that was a little bit of a lifeline that Gaz Williams probably needed. Kawari slow heading out of Tamburello, trying to get past. That was Andy Chell and Elwyn Sykes. So now it's a three-way battle that we were wishing for from this battle for P3. Unless, of course, William Guthrie can do anything about his race. He is really reeling in. Daleiden actually up there. Oh, it's Gaz Williams. Touched the grass and he goes wide. Through is going to go Jamie Dory into 4th position. Over to you, Jamie, says Gaz Williams. Although he probably didn't intend for that. A little bit wide there, heading through the Aqua Minerale. Dipped a wheel on the grass and it spat him off wide. And he's got a lot of time to make up here. Dory's going to challenge for the top 3 here. And I don't think Dory's actually had a top 3 placing this season yet. So this will be a big milestone for him, if he can do that. Sykes and Andy Chell. Something's happened between them, or it might have just been Andy Chell. He's gone off the track. This is his battle with Elwyn Sykes. Oh, and he spins. Oh, no. And that allows Sykes through, who just avoids it. Did well to avoid it. And a long recovery here for Chell to get it back on the track facing forward. He's still 3rd position, but he's out of that battle for 2nd now, unfortunately. That does leave us with Jamie Dory versus Kawari. We've also got Baker versus his teammate Paul Williams. Paul Williams is into 2nd place. And Williams is probably, he's the driver of the two that's got more at stake with the championship. He needs the points. And he's ahead of all his rivals here tonight. So this is a big, big race for Williams when it comes to the championship. Healy, another rival of his. Actually, his closest rival, he's 3rd in the championship, but Diogo Sá, 2nd, is not competing at the moment. He's 4th place. He's about 8 seconds behind Paul Williams at the moment. So, big opportunity for Paul Williams for big points here. And Spagaskio is long gone. He's got one hand on the winner's trophy in this race. Jamie Dory close behind Kawari again. Gaz Williams will have to try and lure these two back in. He's not too far behind, just 1.5 seconds behind. And actually on that last lap, Gaz Williams was a second quicker than Jamie Dory and half a second quicker than Kawari. So Williams probably angry after that mistake. And we'll rejoin this battle to make it a 2-way battle. Now, actually, these two have gotten close. Daleiden has really been caught by Guthrie. I wonder if Daleiden's come off the pace thinking Guthrie does need another stop, but Guthrie seems to be power down, really going for it. And the longer this goes on, the less time he'll need in the pits. if we look at pit lane time, average for that, that's pit time, pit lane time, it's still going to be quite a lot. But here goes Guthrie, he's passed and into the lead. Daleiden did not challenge there at all. I just wonder if Daleiden is fuel saving or just relaxing. But Guthrie's on a mission. He knows he needs as much time in front of his rivals in 3rd, 4th and 5th right now to try and contend for those positions at the latter part of the race. We've got 12 minutes to go. I am fairly sure Guthrie needs to stop again. But he's not fuel saving, he's just going for it. He takes the lead for the time being. These three close together. Now they are passing some GT3 traffic right now. And wide there goes Jamie Dory. Couldn't get around Cheverton, still can't get around Cheverton. And back through goes Gaz Williams. Jamie Dory wriggling around, trying to wriggle his way through those GT3s. But Gaz Williams is through, and that allows Kawari to stretch away. 2.5 clear of Gaz Williams and Jamie Dory now, and it's swapped between these two again. Oh, Gaz Williams had a little tiny lock up there, going through Aqua Minerali. That corner he just can't seem to get right at the moment. It is a very tricky corner though. It's one of those that you just can't get right every single time. Go through there. Imola's a bit like that, to be honest. It is one of those tracks you just... something goes wrong on your lap every time here at Imola. It's just one of those tracks. But that's the beauty of it. You focus so much on trying to get the perfect lap that it's actually fun trying to get the perfect lap around here. Painfully fun. Jake Pitt is getting closer and closer to Matthew Cheverton here. There's a second between him and Cheverton, but there is also a bronze driver and a Ferrari of Jeffrey Kruger in the way. In a race of his own, contending with the Silvers, it might be a little bit of rehearsal for next season for Kruger. Presuming all three of these drivers sign up for next season. I'm sure we'll hear more about that in the coming weeks. Mark Baker has had an incident again. I think he's back out on track. Oh, actually, no. Mark Baker was 4th position. I was mixing him up with Mark Kent. Now he's slow, heading out of Piratella. Bit of curb there, and unloading the wheel on the exit brings around the car. Now these setups on these cars are low downforce, so you lose the rear end and it's very difficult to catch. And that's what happened to Mark Baker. He kept it out of the wall though, so a little bit of time lost. But Healy is into 3rd place here, 7 seconds behind his championship rival. He'll be eyes set on catching Paul Williams in the remaining 9 minutes of this race. These two here still trying to catch Kawari. They have a little bit in the last lap. But still got 1.7 seconds to close back up. And less than 9 minutes remaining in this race to do so. Now, we've got to keep an eye on Guthrie. I was positive he needed the pit. But has this been a little bit of a masterstroke from him? We've got to go to McCain. Oh, he's got damage on the front. And it was going so well for him earlier on. And it just hasn't gone that way. He's had an instant. Here it is. This is heading down to Ravazza. That's a prototype on his inside. That's Salvino. And the two do come together. And it just sends McCain round. Oh, he'd be gutted about that, Will McCain. 5th place for him at the moment. But I would say this has been a good turn in form for McCain. He's been driving really well tonight, actually. No real close battles on track, but there are potential battles brewing. Rory, Williams and Dory in the prototypes. We've also got Jake Pitts closing down Cheverton in the silvers. He has got the bronze leader of Kruger between him and that top spot. But they are teammates. Sorry if you can hear the dog barking. I'll shut him up next time. He's on his own tonight, so I've got to look after him. Yeah, so Kruger here, as we mentioned, it might be a little bit of rehearsal for next season. They've also battling overall for position with Russ Fowler. So, nice overall battle going on here. Smagascale's in the pits. Right. He did have an unscheduled pit stop earlier on in the race. But he's got a big lead over Paul Williams, so he might be able to get back out on track and stay in front. So 2 stops in this race. He might well do it. He is. He is going to do it. Paul Williams is only heading through the Variante Outer now. Smagascale's heading to pit exit. There he goes. He will still lead this race, despite the unscheduled pit stop. And speaking of, Guthrie's in the pits. There goes Daleiden. He's going to take back the lead. And only 6 and a bit minutes out was Guthrie with that unscheduled pit stop. But he might be able to rejoin the track in front of Kerwari, who is only just heading out of the variant. No, he's heading out the final corner here. So he will pass William Guthrie. So will Williams, and so will Jamie Dory. Here goes Guthrie making his way to the exit. Through goes Dory, but it is close. Guthrie might be able to, in the final laps, make a charge for Jamie Dory and make up some points here. That's what he needs at this point. And if Rory, Williams and Dory do start battling, Dory has dropped off a little bit. If Rory and Williams do start battling, it might bring in Guthrie. All very interesting. But Smagascale, unscheduled pit stop at the start of the race, was able to really put in the shift after that and get himself to the top. You've got to take your hat off to that. There's been a lot of drama in that silver category in this race. I think all of them have had at least one instance. But Smagascale is able to come out on top despite all of that. We've been quiet and well away from him for much of the race, actually. Purely because once he took the lead, that was it. But Karel Pucalka, completion of tonight, may well be a champion in the GT3 Gold. By points, I'm working out that it should be, even with drop rounds. But it should well be sewn up for Karel Pucalka after tonight. A more than 98-point lead should do the trick. What a season he's had. From day one, he's been the driver that everyone talks about, that everyone wants to beat in this GT3 category. And every race he's turned up and been quick. He's had a few bumps in the road. Road Atlanta feature race being one of them. But other than that, he has been a threat for the win in every single race this season. And 2 rounds early, he might well win the championship. Well, he's done well here. 2nd place for him is a good result. Holding off Gaz Williams at the moment. Guthrie has passed Jamie Dory. Jamie Dory has been into the pits. I just wonder if something's happened to Jamie Dory for him to need to take a pit stop. Oh, yep. There's been an incident for Jamie Dory. Considering the night was going so well for him. Touch of the grass and it spins round. Jamie Dory's had a good night tonight. He's contended for those big high positions there. Daleiden will take this tonight. really does put the odds largely in his favour of the championship. He finished just behind William Guthrie in the sprint race, relinquishing just a few points actually, just 3 points, maybe a little bit more with fastest lap, but he claws them back in this race. Just trying to negotiate his way past the GT3 traffic here, and I reckon he'll actually have 2 laps to go when he hits the start line here. We'll keep an eye on the gantry as he heads his way over. Couldn't actually tell. But yeah, just the last few laps remaining. He's got a big lead. Oh, and that's really what you don't want, to be negotiating your way around GT3 traffic. So close, so fine at this point in the race, but he's got through there. Gasquel just up ahead here. This will be him getting lapped, although he's not fighting for category. This does mean that his race will end a lap earlier than it would have. He's got a comfy lead as well of 11 seconds. In fact, all category drivers here, probably with the exception of Cheverton, have got comfy leads. Cheverton's just ahead of Kruger here, and Kruger is keeping Jake Pitt back, who's back here. Dropped a bit of time actually. He was close behind Kruger and Cheverton, but has dropped back. Maximilian across approaches the line. It will be another lap. Time hasn't expired yet, so this will be the final lap for Max Daleiden. White flag is waving, and he can bring it home now for a win in this feature race. And to be honest, at the start of the season for Daleiden, I wouldn't have put my money on him winning the championship. We all probably would have gone for Guthrie, but at this point in the season, he's just getting those results now, and he's extending his championship lead after tonight. If he can avoid the Lamborghini of Andy Chell there. That's the thing, he'd be so nervous and so eager to just get it to the end here. He can afford to back off a little bit, but we have got a battle brewing for second place here. Gaz Williams goes very wide coming out of Tozer, but it's a side-by-side battle between himself and Care Warrior as we head up the hill here. Care has the inside. We'll go back to the racing line. They've got to get around the bronze BMW driver of Stephen de Covelli here. They managed to just about time that right, but it's so close between these two. We will cut back to our race winner very shortly. Just want to make sure nothing happens going into the Variante Outer. I think Care Warrior might well have second place sewn up here. We'll see. We'll check back in, but heading out of the final corner, Max Daleiden has done it. He extends his championship lead with 2 rounds to go after tonight. 3 individual races to go. Daleiden wins here at Imola. Okay, Warrior's next to cross the line. Smagaskel has crossed the line already. He's the winner of the silver category, and have opening win for him, I believe. Second place for Kawari and Gaz Williams. Good battle between them for the majority of the race. Paul Williams and Nathan Healy take the remaining spots in the silver category. Karel Pucalka has got another lap to do before he takes to the checkered flag. Cheverton crossed the line to win the silvers. Another win for him. He won the feature race last time out at Spa, and it's another win tonight. And his teammate Jake Pitt will come through for second position. Benneyworth had a good fight back, but it's third place for him in the silvers. Still a good result, but not the night he probably would have wanted out of tonight. Kruger takes the bronze category. He's already gone to the pits, so we can't see him driving around, but it's a 3rd place for him. We turn our eyes to this guy, though. This, I believe, is the champion now of the GT3 Golds. What a season it's been for him. The most dominant driver on the grid in any of the categories. Round the final corner. Karel Pucalka wins here at Imola and potentially the championship of the GT3 Golds. Congratulations to him. Hopefully we get an interview at the end here. Interesting race, that probably a little less drama filled than the the last feature race we had at Spa, but plenty of action up and down the order. All categories had something going on in that race. So there we go. Let's take a look at the results, provisional results, as they always are following each round, pending any penalties, post-race reviews. Prototype Gold, Max Daleiden takes the victory from Kawari, who just held off Gaz Williams and William Guthrie charging at the end there. Came within 2 seconds of that 2nd spot in the end. Jamie Dory, 5th position for him. Ben McCluskey had connection issues, I believe, and that dropped him down to 6th place, but still a finishing position, as well as Sean Shute and Felipe Salvino. Silvers, James McGaskill takes the win despite some drama early on in that race. Everybody in this category had drama in that race, and they're all fighting for that top spot through it all, but it is McGaskill who comes out on top. Williams takes 2nd position from Nathan Healy, his closest championship rival heading into tonight. 2nd and 3rd for them. Luca Monroe, who won the sprint race and took the double last week at Spa. It's a bad luck race for him tonight. 4th place, just ahead of Mark Baker. GT3 Golds. Karel Pucalka takes another win in this category, and he takes it from Russ Fowler, his best result of the season, from Ben Altra in 3rd. Jesse Payne Wilkins takes 4th in the end, and Alan McCain 5th. Silvers, and it's a win for Matthew Cheverton from teammate Jake Pitts. Cheverton won the feature race last time out at Spa as well, so it's 2 on the trot for him. Ben Benneyworth recovers to 3rd place after the retirement of the sprint race and drama earlier on in that race with Nigel Stock, who finished 4th in the end in his Mustang. Mark Kent takes 5th position, a retirement earlier on, as we saw. He was in the wall and he couldn't get the car going again. Jeffrey Kruger takes a dominant win in the bronze category, nearly a minute clear of his teammate Elwyn Sykes in 2nd position. Andy Chell challenged for 2nd place for a long time in that race, but an incident for him dropped him off of contention, but it's still a podium placement for him. Stephen de Gravelia finishes 4th position and drops points from Elwyn Sykes in the championship. And Davide Favo, difficult day for him, he takes 5th. So there we go, that has been round 8 of the championship. Let's see if we've got some interviews waiting for us. We'll see if let me think, were there any notable incidents we should go back to look at in that race? I suppose it'd be nice to actually watch that prototype battle at the start of the race, because that was epic, actually. For 8 minutes of the start of that race, the prototypes were just, you couldn't take your eyes off them. We didn't take our eyes off them, actually. So we will jump to some interviews now, and while we watch this race of the prototypes unfold, we'll chat to a few drivers, just level out the iRacing noise a little bit. So first of all, we'll talk to Andy Chell. We'll chat to the 3rd place driver in the bronze category. So welcome to back to the comms booth, Andy. Good to chat to you again.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah. Well, tricky race for you tonight, but still a pretty decent result. How are you feeling from your perspective then?
First race, disaster. absolute disaster. I haven't fully watched it yet, so other than a disaster, I'm not really going to say much on the incident because I don't actually know what happened yet. Obviously, I know there's contact with the GTP, but I don't really know ins and outs of exactly what's happened. So, bit of a ruiner on that race, but I think P4 for that one in the end, bringing that one, maybe P5 actually. I think because I had to pit on the last lap. I think Davide got me, so that might have been a P5 on that one. But yeah, I mean, feature race until I had the dreaded horns of the bull come back around. It was going absolutely fantastic. Me and Alwyn were having quite a battle, to say the least. I think the Lamborghini speed was saving me in the second sector, but the Porsche was just. He was closing in on me. It was fun actually, and watching the gap grow and then it shrink as I have to keep the Lamborghini slow into it because it's terrible slow speed the Lambo is now, especially now they've updated tyres. It just doesn't like it. So I think there's been a bit of talk about that because I think one of the GTPs is swapped because that's no good anymore on its tyres. So yeah, it's affecting, but yeah, it was a nice fun battle overall, to be honest with you. So yeah, mixed, but overall points, and we'll see how it goes into Portimao next week.
Absolutely. Well, we talk about changing cars and that sort of thing in physics updates, tire model updates with iRacing, that sort of thing. At this point in the championship, you're probably not contending for a top 3 at the moment in the championship, unless I'm correct. But
I'm not sure. I think tables have just come out, so
maybe I'll refresh as well. But yeah, do you think? Well, I know you're not going to take the Lamborghini next season if you do next season. So
what be doing next season? And no.
What car have you got your eyes on at the moment? What car are you looking at and you're thinking, I want to get myself in that car?
Well, me and Ben have been having the chat about this. So we've got a couple in the team that we've got liveried up because obviously having the liveries made up does cost the team money. So we try and, as drivers, say, well, I ask the drivers because I'm running it now, what car we want. Obviously, there's always that split between who wants what because everyone prefers something slightly different.
Yeah.
We've got the Mustang lined up. We've got obviously the BMW that Ben's running, but we are considering changing that because as much as we love it, it's an old car now. It's due its update. I mean, we've got the Evo 2 coming real life. The Evo coming in real life next year. So we'll have to see there. But it's a good car, but it lacks in straight line speed, which is something that definitely comes in handy as the Lamborghini's kind of shown up today. And that's it actually. There's the Lamborghini, that, and the Mustang. So we're going to have a proper sit down and a chat about it. We did talk about the Porsche, but everybody seems to go for the Porsche. So we, with reasonable understanding. There's also the Ferrari, which I do have and I do enjoy. Ferrari is a really nice car. And then the Corvette. I think, to be honest, was spoilt the choice. It will depend on what the cars are like next season.
But if I have to put you on the spot, if literally any car right now, Magic Wand.
Right now, I think I said this before. I think I'd go Corvette.
Lovely.
I do think I'd go Corvette, to be honest with you.
Nice. Well, there we go. That's all I wanted to know. Championship-wise, actually, you're not too far. You're not too far away. Actually, you're only 25 points behind second, so it's in reach. Now the Lambo's difficult at this point, and you don't want to lose points potentially if you're going for second place. But with that battle you're having with Sykes, do you think that a push for second place is on potentially?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, first is definitely out of reach. Jeffrey's in a completely different league, which is, it's great to see. But second, yeah, I think so. I think, like you say, 25 points. So that's a good round at Portimao, or we've got Le Mans as our last endurance race. I do love Le Mans, it's my favourite track.
Yeah, me too.
So we'll have to see. The Lambo's the thing in the mix there, though. It depends if it'll behave. If it'll behave, yeah. If it doesn't, I might be settling for fourth. But like we said, nice big points on. Well, not big points, but not many points lost. Looking at the table to the guys ahead of me, so yeah, with like you say, it's possible, and I'm not going to give up on it. So we'll see, and go from there.
Good stuff. Well, yeah, thanks for chatting to us again today, Andy. Anybody you want to give a shout out to after round 8 tonight? Any friends, family, sponsors, teams, etc.?
Well, yeah, the Quackmass team, Ben, I've mentioned him. He is a brilliant teammate. We do work together quite well, so it is always good to give him the recognition. He hasn't had a great night tonight, but he's a brilliant teammate. He does help out, and you can't say any better than that. Sponsors wise, yeah, the Quackmass team as a whole and all our sponsors, and then a couple of my friends that I think are in the chat or have been in the chat tonight. So Stace, Alex, Mike, thanks to all them for cheering me on and keeping me going when it gets sometimes quite bad. So yeah.
Oh, excellent stuff. Thanks again, Andy. Don't be a stranger from the comms booth yet again. We'll see you next week at Portimao.
Yeah, see you soon.
There we go, third place finish for Andy tonight. Yeah, battling for second place for the majority of the night, and the Lamborghini, it was at the start of the season, and it's probably more so now with that, well, the BOP changes to GT3s, of course, but also tyre model updates as well. It really does put things up in the air. Different cars kind of take over, I suppose, particularly in this GT3 category. So yeah, he's being brave, carrying on in that Lamborghini. Probably quite painful to drive that thing at the moment though, but good on him for giving it a good go. Right, next we are going to chat to our GT3 Gold race winner, and I believe, if my maths are correct and there's no other curveballs, our championship winner of the GT3 Golds, Karel Pucalka, joins us in the comms booth. So first of all, Karel, congratulations on the race win, and second of all, congratulations on the championship, potentially, as long as I'm right.
Thank you. I didn't know I have already won the championship.
Oh, there we go. So I'm glad I'm the first to tell you. So if my maths are correct, there's only 98 points that can be scored between now and season end, and you are clear in the championship by 102 points.
Oh,
so there we go.
Nice.
So yeah. So now we can get a live reaction. How do you feel about that?
I mean, obviously I'm happy about it, but I wish Kieran Smart and some other guys would race all of the races. I think Kieran Smart was the only real competitor pace-wise, but yeah, I think it would be fun with him. He's a fast guy, and yeah, he only joined us for a few races, so yeah, but still good win.
Yeah, exactly. We saw you and Kieran Smart have a really good battle at Sebring, so hopefully we see more of that next season, actually. But yeah, let's talk about the race tonight. It was let's just say it was back to your old self. You had a little bit of fuel trouble last week, but tonight you made it look easy again. But with Imola being so tricky to overtake, how was it with trying to get your way through the field and get your way past back markers?
First of all, I did have fuel issues again.
Oh dear.
I ended up with like half a liter of fuel. I had to leave the last lap because I did an extra lap. I didn't expect that, but yeah, that happened. And overtaking, I mean, was alright, I guess. It's super hard here. It's only a few places you can overtake. I don't really like Imola. think I said it last time as well. It's not a track I enjoy. So, yeah, I think I would, even if I didn't overtake, I think I would jump them through pits. I think I gained like 10 seconds because I pitted before GTPs caught us. So, yeah, I gained some time that way, and then it was rather boring. I mean, few adventures with back markers. Some of them were harder to overtake than the gold racers, but yeah.
Yeah, it did sound like it. So we kind of talked about Portimao before, but for Portimao next week, you've got the championship zone up. I believe you have anyway. So next week you can half enjoy yourself, but is Portimao a track you enjoy?
Yes, I absolutely love it. I was really sad when the iRacing went down on the Portimao round, because I had a good pace and I thought it will be funny, because I think the difference was even bigger than around here. So yeah, I was really looking forward to it, but yeah, we'll see next week if somebody improved.
Yeah, let's see indeed. Okay, so before we shoot off the champion, do you want to give a shout out to anyone, any friends, family, sponsors, teams?
Oh yeah, my team, obviously. I absolutely love those guys. I think it was really fun driving with them tonight, and since I have already won, I might join them on the Discord next round. Maybe.
yeah, because you did mention you don't like talking to people during the races. You like to concentrate, but
it distracts me a lot.
Yeah, now you can enjoy yourself. Yeah,
Le Mans could be fun since those long straights. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you've got to help Jesse secure second in the GT3 Golds.
Yeah, I saw him spin. I'm not sure what happened, but if he was behind me, I think I would give him the first place since he needs it more. But yeah, I will absolutely try to help him secure the second place.
Yeah, that's the beauty of being in a team with someone. And you're also top of the team's championship, so yeah, you're both doing very well. But yeah, thank you very much for chatting to us, Karel. And again, congratulations on the win and the championship. Enjoy it.
Have a good evening.
There we go. And there are the championship standings there. 98 points is the max you can score out of the next two rounds. So there we go. He is 102 clear. At the top there is Karel Pucalka. So I believe that is championship zone up for him. So what we'll do is we'll go through the championship standings because they have been updated. We'll go through the championship standings heading out of tonight and into next week at Portimao. So here we go. Conclusion of tonight, Max Daleiden extends his lead at the top of the standings. He's now 20 points clear of Benjamin McCluskey at the top of the standings, having scored 11 more points than him tonight. Benjamin McCluskey holds second place on 249 points, as we mentioned, but Gaz Williams falls into third spot with the 50-point penalty to William Guthrie, of course, for changing his car, but Gaz Williams moves into third place in the standings. Guthrie did not have an ideal night tonight. He still only scored 3 points less than Max Daleiden, but he drops a lot of points and he's got a lot of clawing back to do for the final two rounds. So it's all to be done by him for the remainder. 65 points to claw back in. It's going to be real tough for him to do that. Hugo Silva holds 5th position still despite not competing tonight, and Jamie Dory with his pretty good round tonight into 6th place and closing in on that 5th spot. Prototype Silvers now, we've got Paul Williams at the top of the standings, lost a few points to Luca Monroe, but Luca Monroe moves into that 2nd spot and will be able to put a challenge in on that top spot in the championship with the good results he's been having. this season, or this part of the season. But Paul Williams still holds the lead in that by 35 points from Luca Monroe, who won the sprint race today, remember? Nathan Healy holds third still, despite passing Diogo Sá. He still holds third with Luca Monroe passing by him, but only 5 points behind. So it is well and truly on for these top 3 spots in this category. Diogo Sá holds fourth, but is not contending in the rest of the championship by the seams of things. And James McGaskill, 5th position, tied for that position with Miguel Alcalao, but he should be able to move into 4th position after next week. GT3 Gold's now champion Karel Pucalka, top of the standings, 102 points clear of Jesse Payne-Wilkins, and just behind him, 23 points behind, is Ben Altria in 3rd position. A good night for him, gets him a good haul of points and moves him past Gavin Gardner in 4th position. Alan McCain, good night for him. A couple of issues in the final race there, but he holds 5th and in 6th position with 32 points scored out of tonight and a 2nd place in the feature race. Russell Fowler moves into 6th position past Edwin Simpson. GT3 Silvers now. Ben Benneyworth has a pretty big lead of 78 points from Jake Pitt. He did not win the championship tonight like he probably planned or wanted to, but he still holds a big lead and can potentially take the championship win next week if he has a good night. Jake Pitt, 2nd position for him. He's moved past, or actually moved tied points with Nigel Stock for 2nd position. So Nigel Stock, not the ideal night for him. Dropped 10 points from Jake Pitt and Matthew Cheverton and tied 2nd place now. He will be really eager to hang on to that top 3 spot. Cheverton is in 4th position, quite a way down, 42 points down from that 3rd and 2nd spot. But a good night for him, 40 points out of tonight and the feature race win. But he has a 50 points drop due to swapping cars. And the GT3 Bronzes, Kruger leads the way by 55 points from Elwyn Sykes. And he has now got a 5-point lead ahead of Steve de Gravelia. Still close between them two, and we'll see how that battle carries through into Portimao next week. We just spoke to Andy Chell, 25 points down from 2nd and 20 points down from 3rd. He can mount a challenge on that top 3 spot. Andy Rooney, 5th position. Hopefully we see him back next week. Davide Favre's 6th, and Ruben Pino, who retired last week but did not contend this week, 7th place for him. And in the teams championship, a big lead for the Full Tilt Pink Motorsport team. An near 80 point lead actually. So one hand on the trophy already for the Full Tilt guys of Karel Pucalka and Jesse Payne-Wilkins. Quatermass Racing, Andy Chell and Ben Benneyworth in 2nd position, just 14 points ahead of Snakes Unite. That are Gaz Williams and Ben McCluskey. Aztec Racing move into 4th position. Their team lineup is Matthew Cheverton, Jake Pitt and James McGaskill. CSA, Davide Favo and Jeffrey Kruger move into 5th place. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the points heading out of tonight. We have got 1 champion, and we've got 4 more drivers to crown and 1 team to crown still in this championship, with 2 rounds to go. Today was Imola. Next week is round 9 of the championship. It will be the last round that has a sprint race and feature race format. Then in 2 weeks from today, we'll be at Le Mans for the 2-hour endurance. Next week, we're at Portimao in South Portugal for that 9th round, the penultimate round of the season. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the NXTGEN Racing Multiclass League, round 8 of the championship. Shout out to our sponsors and affiliates and partners here at NXTGEN Racing that include Benji Sim Photos, Mark Sykes Designs, Higgins Automotive, Powermax Racing, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Sam Cases, Joyce Design and Douglas Motorsport. Thank you for watching NXTGEN Racing TV on YouTube. Please do subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. And on Facebook, please give the page a follow. My name's Alex Everitt, being your commentator tonight. This has been round 8 of the championship. Karel Pucalka is the champion, but we've still got some champions still to greet as the next few rounds pass by. Plenty to watch, plenty to keep an eye on. We'll see you next week at Portimao as that drama and championship unfolds. Thank you for watching.